Back and better than ever, Jake. That's what I'm talking about. Pre-show flow. Getting us started here at Brags in the Stands. Welcome back. Bears win. Dramatic win yesterday. Did you get some sleep,
Quite
Jake?
yeah.
Were you up all night?
I did get some good sleep. I slept well. I think if they would have lost, it might have been a little bit different, but I felt good about it.
Oh, man, I'm excited to talk about it. We're just getting started here. We appreciate everybody joining in. We call this the pre-show flow. Sometimes we start 10 minutes early. Sometimes we start 1 minute early. Sometimes we start 2 minutes late. You never know. You just never know, but we appreciate your time. And, you know, it gives me an opportunity to share the show along to all the necessary outlets. But, man, I'll tell you what, yesterday was the Khalil Mack day, wasn't it?
There's a bear.
What was that?
Our friends from NBC Sports Chicago put together this awesome little video. I tell you what, it was the best work I saw all of last night. Something, you know, Brady does all those hype videos, and then apparently he saw a bear in his backyard during the offseason, but that bear, well, guess, was Khalil Mack last night.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Pretty good stuff. I said,
pretty good.
I texted or I tweeted at him A+ material there from the fine people at NBC Sports Chicago. But it was the Khalil Mack day, so a lot of fun there, and great to see Khalil Mack dominating like he did, because you got a lot of people out there questioning how great he is. Even guys on ESPN 1000 trying to talk about this guy's not doing it.
Really?
Slow down.
I didn't hear that.
I don't think we should be pointing our arrows at any of the defensive unit, especially our leader, Khalil Mack. As you see, he's hanging over my shoulder, hanging in the jersey, you know, the wall of fame, as we're going to call it. You know, Khalil Mack, definitely the Khalil Mack game. That's what yesterday was.
I haven't been listening to the radio. Has based on the way the offense has been going and the pessimism, have they been talking about dealing him out and getting rid of him for some picks or anything like that?
No, none of that anymore. You know, I had joked last year when it was going real bad, hey, we can give up A-Rob and Mack for multiple first rounders, but I think the city of Chicago would burn itself down. But again, this is the pre-show flow, ladies and gentlemen. Thanks for joining us once again here at Brags and Stands. We're about to get started. Like I said, I'm just getting my stuff shared along to all the necessary outlets, and we are ready to go. But we have one special message from a good friend of ours here over at Brags in the Stand.
Hey, this is David Kaplan from ESPN 1000, the Cap and J Hood Morning Show, and NBC Sports Chicago. Do what I do. Watch Brags in the Stands with Greg Braggs and Jake. Must-watch television. Take that.
Take that. Let's go. The Bears, they started this new tradition last year where they celebrate their wins the correct way.
Waddle and Sylvie, ESPN 1000, don't miss it.
what you mean.
It's like their own Philly.
Okay. Okay, I think what it is.
We shouldn't be showing this. Am I crazy?
What a great sign that is. What if I told you 17 minutes of rain would wash away 108 years of drought?
Do you see this team growing into the team that you were in 2005?
Great practice, everybody.
You are ridiculous.
Let's go. There it is. Mac attack. The Mac man. Bear down.
That was pretty good.
Chicago Bears.
Where'd you get that?
That was courtesy of Chicago Bears social media. They put that up on Twitter last night. More fine work from social media departments. Hyping up this Bears team because we're 4-1, my man. Keep coming away with dramatic victories. Never a dull moment with this team. Never know what to expect. And we're going to talk all about it here tonight. Excited to talk about it. We let the dust settle last night. We took a night off from our post-game craziness. You know, it was a late night, and we wanted to let the chips fall where they may and come back, reconvene tonight, and talk about what we saw. And Jake, we saw ourselves a team that found themselves at the very moment they had to. Once again, what are your thoughts after the big comeback victory here for Nick Foles and the Chicago Bears?
Oh man, it was ugly early, and I did not pick the Bears to win that game. I expected the offense to struggle when they came out and struggled for a quarter and a half. I was very disappointed. I mean, Nick was missing some really easy throws. One to Mooney that was just crazy bad, like not even in his realm.
Yeah.
And it was frustrating because I'm just like, man. I mean, I always was of the mind before the year started that the Bears probably just have two below average quarterbacks on the roster who are battling each other. So that was what you got. You saw that and you're thinking, oh, what do we switch back to Trubisky now? Like what do we do here? So that was frustrating. But then they had, the nice drive. They scored the touchdown. They had the huge hit by Fuller, which just changed everything. And then from there, it was anybody's game. So in that 2 minutes, they put up 14 points, and then it was on. So
it's amazing how they do so many things wrong. It takes them so long to get going, and then a couple plays, 2 plays, and then all of a sudden they have the lead. They struggle so much. They make the simplest things look so difficult. An easy first down pass way over the guy's head, then a missed block or a bad play, whatever you want to pick, take your pick. They make all those simple things look so hard. Then they finally do just 2 things right, and before you know it, they're up 14-13 at the half. Really, I mean, just typical Bears football. Like I said, never a dull moment. But let's get into the presser, because here at 7:30 we have our guy Kevin Kaduck from the Midway Minute coming on. Our guy who's been nice enough to let us enter our picks into his newsletter. And if you're not subscribed to the Midway Minute, you should be. And we'll get into that in a little bit. But we want to get in to the Matt Nagy news press conference from last night as soon as the game was over, and a little bit into what today was. So here was Matt Nagy's initial thoughts immediately following the Bears win.
But I look at, to end the game with our defense, having an opportunity to shut down possibly the greatest quarterback to ever play this game with 1:13 to go, down 1 point, and then to come through with that's a huge win. And so, just the special teams, I thought today played lights out. Cordero Patterson with all his return yardage and just everybody blocking, and on the back end, and then Cairo making those 2 huge field goals. I mean, that's big. And defense did the bend but don't break to hold them to 3 points, for them to jump out to that lead early on, and our offense to get a little spurt there in the second quarter. So we're going to be able to go back to the drawing board, and we've just faced 2 really good defenses in the Colts and Tampa and the Bucs here today. But the best part about all this that I'm super excited about with our players and our coaches is that we're 4-1, and we know we can play a lot better.
First question.
Yeah, that's an understatement if you've ever had one. I mean,
sure,
they can absolutely play better. Yeah,
you have to take that. I mean, that's the best part about this. They're 4-1. They have one of the best records in football, and the amount of improvement this team can have, especially on the offensive side of the football, is a lot. It's a lot. So,
there's plenty of room for that. Yeah. There was a lot of early penalties or a lot of things that were kind of bleeding over from that Colts game that seemed to be happening, but they seemed to kind of get it under control in the second half. I mean, there's a lot of things that went their way. There was a lot of calls that seemed to go their way in the second half, especially that roughing call, which I'll give it to him because he did get kind of under the chin with his helmet.
Sure.
But
that was assault.
The pass interference call was absolutely game-changing at the end there.
Yeah.
So a little luck went their way, but hell, I mean, it's a little luck almost every week with these guys. So we'll take it.
Our guy, little Kevin Big D, still having a tough time with the Mitch separation. And I'll tell you what, before we get into the next Matt Nagy clip, I will say, halfway through the second quarter, when things were looking bleak, I think any Bears fan would be lying to themselves if they weren't thinking about if that inevitable switch back was coming when he couldn't complete simple passes. And you want to give a guy time. You want to be fair to it, but there's only 16 games in a football season, and they lost the last one. And if they had kept going down the trajectory they were halfway through the second quarter, the conversation would have been had today. And thank God Nick Foles and Matt Nagy figured it out and found a way to win a game, because now they have 10 days to recalibrate off a win and have an extra few days to get ready for Carolina and try to take this and get it on the right track. So no, I'm not crying over Mitch, little Kevin. You might be, but we're on to Carolina over here, brother.
I thought he was being sarcastic.
He was, little Kevin's our little troll, and we love Kevin and we appreciate him. So moving on to Matt Nagy, he wanted to talk about, he was asked, the difference between this year and last year, because both teams started 3-1, and that's where the turning point for last year's Bears team went south. But this team found a way to win, maybe one of their biggest wins in Matt Nagy's career as a head coach, and this was his thoughts of that.
This was the same point in the season as last year where things really spiraled for you guys. Did it have that feel to you that this was a momentous game for you in the season?
Jason, that's a really good point. Probably, yeah. I think that we've had some things go our way this year in those first 4 games, really three of the wins, and now today the 4th one, where we've been resilient with how we've come through different situations, and so again, I said it a few weeks ago. There's something special about this team. We find ways to win, and it's not always pretty. We totally understand that, and using these next couple of days for myself and our coaching staff on offense to really figure out, okay, where we're at, self-scout ourselves so that we can, score more points and be better there, along with the quarterback change. But you're right. I mean, this is a big win for us right now. When you look at this, to be 4-1, every win is so crucial. And so I'm proud of our coaches and players for that.
JJ.
Yeah, they are. They are a special team. I mean, this is what happens when you. I mean, anytime that you can remember the Bears being a good team and stringing wins together, there's plenty of things that you can point to that went their way. The ball bounced their right way. A call went their way.
Yep.
Something happened. This is just the nature of football. So it's. I mean, a lot of. I totally get it. I don't know if the Bears how good of a team they are. Their defense is excellent.
They're resilient. We know
they're
that.
resilient, and they love each other. They trust each other. And they'll fight for each other. So
this is the third win where they've come back down double digits in the first 5 games. And the last Bears team to do that was the 1985 Bears, who went on to win the Super Bowl. So, that's a good company to keep. And then, obviously those 2 fourth quarter miracle comebacks were, historically the first time you'd ever seen a team do that. So they have that. It's like the 2001 Bears with the Mike Brown interceptions. They have that kind of team of destiny. I heard a guy on ESPN 1000 call today go, this has to be the first 1-4 or 4-1 team that should be 1-4 I've ever seen. I go, well, you haven't been watching Bears football for the last 20 years because
I've been watching NFL football for very long because there's plenty of teams that have done that in the past. I remember
every year.
Yeah.
And the Bears embody that. They do it once every 5 years when the sun, hits a certain spot in the sky. It's like every time, it's like it's science. And so I'm not surprised by this. And let's just see where they go. You don't have to be the best team in August, September. It's about being the best team in December and January. Let's build towards that. 4-1 is a great start. I think any Bears fan would have signed up for that to start the year. And I know that a lot of Bears fans would sign up all day to make this trade 10 times over.
Jones, that's a great start. Brady is taken down. Khalil Mack. After the longest run of the season against this Bears defense, Khalil Mack steps up and gets a sack. Yeah, against the rookie, Tristan Wirfs, and he's able to work around him.
Yeah, love that little suplex or whatever.
My goodness gracious. The guy is a monster. Finally, we get a new highlight. You had the one from a couple years ago in 2018 where he threw
bench
3 Lions players, and then had that one arm press on I can't remember who it was anymore, but he went through 3 Lions guys, then he had the arm press on the one guy. Now this year we've got this highlight that will live in Bears in history forever. I mean, not only does he get to the GOAT, Tom Brady, then he gives this dude a ride for his life. I mean,
I'm glad. I mean, obviously the refs saw that he was just holding on to him after the play was over because they were right there. He flips him, and they just are like, "Hey, man, you got to get your hands off of him, or that's what you get."
That is how scary a man he is. The refs wouldn't call the flag on him there. I tweeted at one point when he had a personal foul penalty. I was like, you can't do that. But I didn't tweet who can't do that because I know Max searches his tweets and searches his name on Twitter. So I ain't trying to get in trouble with this guy. I'm scared. He is a big
knocking
dude.
Your door and flip you.
Yeah, he is a big dude. But, I saw on Twitter this morning a great breakdown of that play and some thoughts of from Brian Baldinger, who does little breakdowns on Twitter from time to time. And he had some thoughts about Khalil Mack I wanted to share with you.
And then early in the third quarter, this was Khalil Mack. If you leave him one-on-one, if you leave him maybe we can get by without doubling him right here. This is what he does to you. The rookie tackle, Tristan Wirfs, who's been having a good season. Down goes Brady. But it's not done there. This Tristan Wirfs is just bugging him, and he just body slams him right here. I'm just telling you right now, if Khalil Mack ever gets in the ring with a grizzly bear, I'm putting all my cake on Mack.
I don't blame you there. We do need to get Baldy on the show because he's right. He's put all your cake on Khalil Mack in a fight with a grizzly bear. There's no doubt about it. The guy is a
bad dude.
And anyone questioning what this guy brings to the table each week just because he's not getting the numbers, just try for a second to just watch what he does each game. I know it's hard, as a normal, average fan in the stands, it's hard to just key in on one guy. But if you go back and watch after the game is over, each game you'll never come away saying you'll never come away saying he's not doing enough. He gives 100% effort on every single play, and he's got the entire team on the other side of the ball looking at him. And these were the thoughts Matt Nagy had on the greatness of one Khalil Mack.
The impact that Khalil was having during that game and the frustration that was causing Brady?
Yeah, 100%. I mean, you have a guy like Khalil that every single snap he's bringing it, and you just have to know that he's coming. And it's unfortunate on that last sack he had, or the one where he got the penalty, because he could have had a third sack. And that's just who he is. And the other guys feed off of that. Along with Kyle Fuller, the biggest play of the game was that hit that Kyle had for the fumble was huge. So to have a couple sacks by Khalil, for Kyle to make that play, and then Buster and Quinn to get on that football, I just thought that we were able to make plays at the right time today, which was great.
Brad.
Yeah, for sure. And I know he didn't have a sack last night, but even Robert Quinn, I think, is getting back a little bit. He had some good rushes. I think he had 5 quarterback hits last night.
Yeah, it seemed like Quinn was getting around the edge and coming close to those strip sacks more than a couple times, inches away from a strip sack. So, I try to be optimistic about that, because
I think it's coming for him.
It's only a matter of time, one would think. So, you heard Matt Nagy mention in that, throwing his, rose petals to Khalil Mack. He also added one Kyle. In case you missed that was the Fuller. You heard of the Mack truck. This was the Fuller truck.
That was absolute game changer right there. I mean, that was everything.
That's how you get the momentum shifted in a football game. Hit someone in the mouth, and he didn't even hit him in the mouth. He hit this dude so hard, clean, in his chest, that his whole body snapped, and it looked like that it was a helmet-to-helmet hit. The collision, the sound, and with no fans in the stands, you hear that, and it's just like, whoo, like that just gets your blood pumping, and you hear the sideline react to that, and you saw how the team responded to that immediately. So you have to look at that as a turning point in the season. If we go back here down the road, if the Bears string together some wins here and they get hot, we can look at that moment as a turning point.
That was huge. This was a game that if they could have taken this one, I mean, this really can pay some dividends. I mean, right now you're 4-1. You have 11 games left. If you can win 6 of your next 11 games, you're probably going to go to the playoffs, because they've expanded who gets in, whether or not, it's, I guess there's 2 wild cards now or whatever it is.
Yep.
So get those 10 wins. You need 6 games. I don't care where you get them or how you get them, and you're probably going to be in the playoffs.
Absolutely. And as far as that Fuller hit, if you didn't get a good enough look on the quick shot, which I'm going to save that quick shot for this show forever, because it is such an amazing hit. But Troy Aikman had a great breakdown in the game to it, and I wanted to share that with you, the fans, in case you missed it.
Looked plain to me. And it came in really late, like you said, Joe. But let's take a close look at this. No, nothing wrong with that. Nope. And they're going to talk about it, which is the right thing to do. You'd hate to see that this drive continues when, this is textbook. This would be on the coaching. It looked plain to me.
I had when I edited it, I figured I'd leave it in one more time just to give you that last taste, because man, it is so good. We could just play that hit on a loop for an hour and a half, and I think that might be just as good as whatever we're going to put out today, because man, what a hit from Kyle Fuller. After everything, it's the Khalil Mack game, but the biggest moment of the game was the Kyle Fuller hit. So that just goes to show you what the defense was bringing to the table last night. And then shout out to the refs for picking that flag up. It was a crucial moment in the game. Those kind of calls change the whole complexion of a game, and for them to get it right, they probably took a little peek in the Jumbotron, but they got it right, and they also got the fumble right. They reviewed it, and it turned out it wasn't not only an incompletion, it was a fumble, Bears ball, so they got it completely right. So the refs are always giving us a hard time.
They got to stop reaching for their hankies as soon as there's a big hit. You got to take your time and look at it, because I know you got to make a decision like that. But, man, don't always just immediately go to that being illegal because it's so violent. That is football. So
100%. So let's move on, because Matt Nagy had some thoughts about the run game, and that was a big part of the game that was kind of non-existent last night. You know, they fell behind yet again, and Matt Nagy had some thoughts about what happens when they fall behind and kind of where his mindset is when they fall behind and what he wants to do moving forward when it comes to the run
Yeah,
game.
again, it's these two run defenses that we just faced. I don't know how to explain it, but they're pretty good, and it doesn't mean that we can't run against them, but that's what's happened the last 2 weeks. I have a lot of I just understand that when you get behind like we did, you have to be able to throw the ball a little bit and be able to, you know, get that clock to your advantage and then still sprinkle in some runs when you can. So I know that Coach Castillo and that these offensive linemen, they care tremendously about getting this thing right, along with the running backs and Coach London. And we're going to stay very persistent. There's going to be zero abandoning the run because it hasn't, you know, been successful the last 2 weeks. I promise you that. So we just got to get back to what we know we can do, and we got to use this these next few days here to figure out a little bit more of our identity with that.
Yeah.
So that's
and they'll
important.
get there.
I like Nagy's honesty when it comes to falling behind in his mindset. If that's how you got to win games, so be it. But then it comes down to the team to execute it. You know, we always say don't abandon the run. But if you're playing a team that's just going to shut your run down and you're going down to score, if you can rationalize it to me in a way that makes me understand, fine. Last year saying, oh, I didn't come here to run the eye and only running it 5 times in one game, that's not a good enough excuse. What he said right there, that made a little more sense. And the fact that he's cognizant that he knows he has to stick to the run here going forward against teams that may not have as good a run defense, that makes me feel better about it too.
Yeah, and it seemed like they absolutely knew who Tampa was when they came into that game. They knew they were dealing with the number one rush defense in the league, and they tried to do things differently. You know, they finally got, you know, little dump offs. They got the wheel routes going. They got little things here and there that worked like a charm.
You're bringing it right out of my head here, because that's the next topic I wanted to get to, was the wheel route, because you can get the ball to the running back more than a few ways. You don't just have to hand it to him in an obvious rundown situation. But the play of the game offensively was clearly the wheel route thrown to David Montgomery in the fourth quarter with under 2 minutes to go. These were Matt Nagy's thoughts on that play.
In front of you on the sideline that led to the game-winning field goal.
Yeah, that again, the thing with Nick is Nick gets up to that line of scrimmage and he sees some things that the defense does. And we have some things that we can get to at the line of scrimmage based off of what they're doing defensively. And I just thought that in that situation right there, for him to be able to give them that, you know, get to that there and put the ball up and give him a chance, and drifted back a little bit. They were getting real aggressive trying to go cover zero a couple times to get us out of field goal range. And so I can specifically remember looking at David's eyes when that ball was floating in the air, and he totally looked that ball in to make that secure catch. So that was a huge play at a huge moment. And that's kind of what Nick has always done. And then for David to make that catch for the line to give protection, again, there were certain plays that just happened, and it gave Cairo a chance to make it.
That's all we have.
Yeah, that was absolutely the play of the game. Just like the toss to Teddy Ginn against the Falcons was the play of the game. That was another Foles moment where he just puts a dart right where he needs
and
to.
As Chubb said, he called it out, and that was the beauty of that play.
Just got it away. This is flipped for Montgomery. Perfect throw by Foles.
You hear the call, perfect throw, and it really was. And another breakdown I found on Twitter this morning was from Emmanuel Acho, a former teammate of Nick Foles. I believe they played together with the Philadelphia Eagles, and he had some interesting thoughts on how Nick Foles came to make that play, as Chubbs pointed out, was an audible at the line of scrimmage. And I thought Emmanuel Acho did an amazing job this morning on Twitter, kind of showing us how that play came to be.
They're bringing more than the Chicago Bears can block. Nick Foles recognizes that. He motions Montgomery back. But watch what he sees first. Shaquille Barrett, who was blitzing, he gives a quick little hand signal to the safety, Winfield. He says, hey, I'm calling my blitz off. I'm going to now peel the running back, meaning if the running back releases, he's on me. So Foles sees that first. Now listen to the communication afterwards. He says, hey, three's dead. He talks to his left tackle, Charles Leno. Talking to his left tackle, Charles Leno, he says, hey, 1, 2, 3. Shaquille Barrett, he's dead. He's not blitzing anymore. He's going to peel the running back. Charles Leno's like, okay, bet. We good then. Now listen to the next communication. After Foles says that, he now talks to Allen Robinson. And he says, hey, rub. When Shaquille Barrett peels, I need you to rub Shaquille Barrett so that David Montgomery can be set free. And just like that, in 13 seconds, Nick Foles wins the game for the Chicago Bears. That's exactly why that man deserves to be the starter.
And he's absolutely right. And the one thing he doesn't say is that Charles Leno totally whiffed on his block there anyway, and he had to make a throw with a guy in his face. But that we're used to that by now.
Well,
but
yeah,
hey, Acho's pretty damn good at that. I like.
Yeah, that was a nice, quick little breakdown, and I like how he explained it. And Allen Robinson listened to a T to the direction that his quarterback gave him, and he rubbed it just enough. Not enough to get the penalty on the pick play that, we got a couple years ago against the Dolphins on a big play in the fourth quarter. He did it just enough to where he didn't get the call. So a shout out to him. Here were Nick Foles' thoughts on that big play, and it was the biggest.
Nick, the other play to David was the one on the final drive. It set up the field goal. Can you walk us through kind of what you saw before the snap that led you to go in that direction and kind of the throw to David as well?
Yeah, they were showing a pressure look, and they did bring pressure, but I was trying to figure out where the safety would be, so we were able to get ourselves into a play to where we get David on a linebacker or safety going up the side, and we were able to get a little bit of a pick action. The defender sort of collided and just dropping it in there where he can make a play, and obviously that was a huge play in the game to get us into a really good field goal range for Cairo to kick it through.
Absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
And, sorry, I'm getting things lined up, and we're getting charged up because Kevin Kaduck from the Midway Minute is getting ready to join us here shortly, so we buzz through here a couple more of these thoughts. And this was Nick Foles' kind of quick thoughts on all the throws for the day, because he had a lot of throws early on that he missed, and then he started hitting them at the end. So not a complete day by Nick's standards, and here were his thoughts on that.
Yeah, I missed one specifically where I was rolling to the right and had A-Rob, and I was shocked it came off my hand like it did. It just it didn't come off right. But other than that, it felt good. There's obviously some throws where, stepping up a couple of times you get hit and you can't really get it out there. But there'll be a lot of things that we can look at on film to get better at, because we left some stuff out there, but they did some nice things on defense to make it so it was a little difficult to do that. So they did a nice job.
JJ.
Yeah,
and that's my biggest takeaway. And I was texting old Tommy Waddle during the game, and I go, man, if they could just hold their blocks a second longer, seemed like every time. And Nick Foles kind of pointed to it there. He's like, oh, I can't step into a few because they were in my face. Not taking a shot at the O-line, but it's just a fact, and I think that's that leadership by Nick Foles saying that they need to hold them blocks. I guarantee they're going to be talking about that this week in the Good, the Bad, the Ugly film review, that they got to hold them blocks just another second longer, and they'd have 5 or 6 more plays that would open up to them. Jimmy Graham was missed, or Cordero Patterson and Jimmy Graham both missed in the end zone in different spots because the O-line couldn't hold up. But then you saw Jimmy Graham connect on a big...
Foles, end zone. What a catch! Graham, touchdown! Well, he catches this with one hand. I mean, he's got one arm kind of grabbed, and Jamel Dean saw that matchup just a moment ago. That's a great job.
That's the kind of red zone stuff we need to win games. So that's a big difference from the tight end position we had last year. So
and I gave Pace crap for picking up Jimmy Graham and giving him the money he did. But man, could you imagine how this team be doing without him right now? I mean, he's been clutch when we needed him. So kudos to Pace for recognizing that he's still got gas in the tank, because he's playing well.
100%. And before we bring on our guy Kevin, this was Nick Foles' thoughts here coming up over the next 10 days and what his goals are for this football team.
What do you want to accomplish now that you do have kind of a breather to take some stock in what has gone on the last couple of weeks, and then also to try to build the offense for the rest of the season?
Yeah, I think just taking time to really think back, what we've done these last couple of weeks, where we've maybe had some trouble, where we've lost our rhythm, because I feel like our rhythm has been sporadic a little bit, and we really got to get this thing flowing a little bit better. And, I know Coach Nagy feels the same way. So what does that mean? What do we want to be? So there's a lot of those conversations that we can have, and they are, easy to fix. We just got to figure out what they are. And it's not the first time I've been in this situation. A lot of teams in the NFL are in this situation a lot of times. So we have the pieces and the people here to get this thing right and, continue to improve as a team.
Couple more for Nick.
Yeah, I mean, the 10 days couldn't be coming at a better time for him. The biggest problem is, unfortunately, we lost James Daniels now for the year. So the left side of the line is going to be weak, very, very weak. So you gotta, at least you have 10 days to kind of plan for that, because you're going to have to scheme around it, or you're going to put out some help for Leno or something. But I mean, Alex Bars got blown up a couple times last night, but he seemed to hold his own a bit as the game went on. So we'll see.
100%. And joining us now is our guy, Kevin Kaduck from the Midway Minute. I always say Kevin Kaduck, and I want to get it right one of these days for my guy. But you can find him on YouTube and Twitter and Facebook, the whole deal. Make sure you're following along to his newsletter, and he joins us now. Welcome to Brags in the Stands. Finally, Kevin, we appreciate you joining us tonight. How are you?
What's going on, guys? I've been listening. It's going well. It's Victory Friday, which is always the best of Fridays. So I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, well,
Absolutely.
We appreciate you joining us, and we appreciate you allowing us to be in. You just started this newsletter here this summer, and it's really been taken off. I've really enjoyed it all summer. You do such a unique job of kind of looking at the angles from the fans' perspective. There's so many analysts out there that do it the analytical way, and that's great. We need all that information, but I enjoy kind of your perspective. I think we see eye to eye as far as the way we look at the game from a fan's perspective, and we appreciate you allowing us on your newsletter each week, putting in these picks. But I got to tell you, I'm in a real bind here now, because here's the picks from this week. And as you can see, me and you and a few others, we're all picking the Bears to lose. And we got one guy, Brendan, over there at the Bears Wire. He's the only one that knows what he's doing anymore. What are your thoughts now with this Bears team? Because I don't know how to pick them anymore.
It's hard. I think when the schedule came out in April and May, everyone went down and penciled in, what are the wins, what are the losses. And I looked at those first 4 or 5 games. I thought, what am I missing here? This looks like a pretty good springboard to a playoff bid. And I don't, I have to go back and look, but I had 3 or 2 or 4-1, and of course the national guys thought, 3-13, 4-12, and I'm just like, what am I missing? Obviously, to get to 4-1 was really tough, right? Like, it's been a roller coaster the past 5 weeks. I'm glad we have this weekend off. I think we need it. I think we deserve it. But the Bears did what they need to do. You're 4-1. You've got a 74% chance of making the playoffs in the 17th field in the NFC this year. It's expanded. You set yourself up. So, there's a lot of things to improve. There's a lot more road to go. 11 more games. A lot of stuff can happen. But hey, I don't think the Bears need to apologize right now for being 4-1.
Absolutely not.
Absolutely.
It's never a dull moment with this team. And I like putting out, now that I'm not at the games, I'm trying to figure out different ways to interact with fans, because, normally when I'm at the games, I'm putting up all these video and stuff like that. But this year, during the games, I've been putting up different poll questions, and I found this interesting halfway through the second quarter, and I'd love to get your thoughts on where your mindset was, because when it was going really bad for Nick Foles, I put out this question, and I said, are you thinking about the Mitch switch yet? He had missed some huge touchdown passes, some easy first down throws, and I had over 500 votes fairly quickly, and over 50% had yes, and a solid amount at almost. Where was your mindset before they finally turned the corner with a couple minutes to go in the first half, as far as the quarterback is concerned?
I think if you look at the Midway Minute account, you'll see that I actually just put Trubisky in already. A few minutes before that, I said, name an old Bears quarterback that you'd rather see in there right now. And people were saying Bobby Douglas and
I almost
Jim
put
McMahon.
Trubisky.
And a couple of people did say Trubisky, which is pretty cool. But yeah, I mean, obviously, the thing, I admire that you're a big Trubisky defender, because I don't know if I'm as big of a Trubisky fan as you are, but I just like the kid. I think that he's probably the most likable bust in Chicago sports history. And I don't even know if you want to call him a bust now, but he's going to come back to the field in 15 or 20 years, and people will be happy to see him. Like it's that sort of thing, because I think he's a good kid, whatever. And I think he's fun to watch. When he's cooking, he is a fun player to watch. Nick Foles, I don't think Nick Foles is a fun player to watch. Like, he's a dude, he's got an arm, and he gets the job done. And last night was fun because they won, but I don't think necessarily that, like, I was like, maybe, with the exception of maybe the Jimmy Graham toss. At no point did I think, okay, well, this is great. The Montgomery catch too, but
yeah. Well, the cool thing is seeing how Acho broke down that throw to Montgomery. It's cool to see him orchestrate at the line. That's something that we didn't always get to see from Mitch, but the way that he understands the offense and has all that experience and can really kind of be a field general, that's pretty cool to see.
Yeah. It almost kind of makes you really wish that there was a way to get both guys on the field. I know maybe that's coming. I mean, maybe that's down the road, a November, December thing, because Trubisky does have tools that I think should be on the field. I don't know if that's coming. I kind of hope it does. I think it'd be fun to watch.
Absolutely. And, as far as Trubisky, I've moved on. I'll be lying to you if I wasn't saying at halfway through the second quarter, if they didn't score any points last night, I was going to be the first one beating the drum to say, let's make the switch back, because I had nothing else to go off of other than they were playing worse than they were before. And I'm the layman here, but once they turn the corner, I go, okay, I see it now. They need to learn how to play together. And I think you saw a lot of that right here is what Mitch Trubisky maybe doesn't bring to the table. Nick Foles is able to tell his coach what he wants. And I think Mitch could learn a lot from a guy like Nick Foles, a journeyman quarterback, who now look at him, talking to Matt Nagy, trying to tell him.
Nagy looks like the player in this situation.
Right. Yeah. So I think that really showed me right there all we need to know as far as where this offense needs to go. And I definitely have confidence that they're going to get it figured out. As long as they keep stringing wins together, I have no problem with that. There was another poll I'd put out was this the biggest night in Matt Nagy's career? This was prior to the game, and it was almost a 50-50 split on the vote, which is tough to find. Where are your thoughts with that? Was that a career-defining moment for Matt Nagy on the national stage against Tom Brady, being that he just made the quarterback switch, or are we overstating it a bit here?
I think maybe had they thrown up the same game that they did against the Colts, then it would have affected him negatively. I don't think that makes his career by any means. But it was big by I think by any measure. Nagy's got a lot to prove. Ryan Pace has a lot to prove. This team has to come together and start winning ball games. I don't think necessarily that they're on the hot seat. That's not how the McCaskies operate. Maybe Bears fans think that they should, and I'm not the world's biggest Ryan Pace fan, but you got to give him credit. Jimmy Graham's paying off 4 touchdown catches. That's one less than he caught in 2 years with the Packers and Aaron Rodgers. Yep. So there's good pieces there. Can those two guys bring it together? That's the big question.
Yeah, I said something last night in a tweet. I said Ryan Pace does not deserve to pick the next quarterback, and I really have a hard time with that because I don't think he does. And there's so many things that he's done that just really are just head scratchers. But then he also, then you have a guy like Mooney, and you have Eddie Jackson, and you have Jalen Johnson, and he's able to find these guys. His first round picks have been terrible, most of them. Yeah. I mean, Roquan is his best first round pick, and he's a good linebacker, but he's not. I mean, he's still yet to really transcend. So it's hard. I mean, if they end up putting a playoff run together, he ain't going anywhere. So you're just gonna give him a shot. But it's definitely concerning because quarterback is a position that he has just had nothing but trouble with since.
And the thing is, you point out the late round success, and to me, that's what's so maddening that he gives away so many draft picks because he's able to find that, and his scouting department is able to find the late round gems. And then you just kind of give away picks, and like I guess you did Nick Foles, and he won a couple of games for you now, but that cost you a 4th round pick and money. Mitch Trubisky cost you picks. The best front offices acquire picks. They don't give them away. And if Ryan Pace, had more 4th, 5th, 6th round picks to find stuff, maybe you're looking at a different team right now.
Yeah, that's fair. That's definitely
100%.
fair.
And so moving back to Matt, and you know what, Kevin, I'm also very terrible at this. This is something my wife, and I'm not calling Jake my wife, but he is my partner in radio life, and I don't properly introduce him ever to our guests. And this is my good friend and co-host Jake. He's a graphic designer and a amazing producer for our show and a great friend of mine. So there is my official introduction.
Did you do the Nick Foles shirt, Jake?
Yeah, I did that. I did this one too. Cash Mooney.
All right, I have the Nick Foles shirt on the way, so
awesome.
If it's here the next time I'm on, yeah. So
Royce.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that one too.
The Foles Royce. You know, he had the other nickname out in Philly, and we thought, you know, we got to switch it up and keep it fresh here in Chicago because he's got this crazy nickname, but I don't know if we're gonna go with that here.
So you cannot do a BDN shirt in Chicago because that is a bad. Those are bad initials.
So yeah, a prominent gang in Chicago, and Barstool, Chicago, and Windy City Gridiron. Actually, I think both kind of came across that, and it kind of goes to show you sometimes that we do live in two different worlds when it comes to kind of the aspects of where different societies are at, and I didn't know about that either. Yeah, and you know, as someone that goes to Chicago, and I feel like I know certain things, but yeah, I don't know much. Coming from the region, Northwest Indiana, I don't know much about gang culture, so it was interesting to see that whole dynamic come to play. So yeah,
we're full Royce. We're not even going
good
there.
Reason to stay off of the whole BDN.
I hope that won't upset anybody. So we're just
if you go up to Lake Forest or Kenilworth, Jake, you might run into trouble there.
Yeah, right.
Well, but then you had Khalil Mack on Fox calling him Big Nick. He almost had the fraudulent slip of calling him that. So I want to play this clip for you because I think we're seeing a new Matt Nagy, and I want to get your thoughts after we play the clip. I want to get your reaction on this Matt Nagy that I feel like we've never seen before until this year. And here's the clip.
In regards to, going back and watching the game, again, it's great to be 4-1. That part feels good. I thought that our guys, like I said last night, everyone fought together and persevered against a really good football team with a great quarterback, and to come out with a win is always a lot easier when you're watching the tape to be able to coach off of that. I thought offensively, they're just looking at it, and you start wondering about the sloppiness and where things are at and how to get to where we need to go. I just look back after watching the tape, and the details right now in this offense are not there. So that's our job as coaches to make sure that we get these freaking details right. And it's as simple as that.
How about it? New and improved Matt Nagy, as far as I'm concerned, coming off a big win, and no more sunshine and lollipops. Your thought on this rigid Matt Nagy coming on a victory Friday?
I liked it. I think that he took the equity that he has with a 4-1 record and used it to, put a little bit of, foot in the ass of that offense because it does need it. You scored, you scored 20 points, but the other one scored 19. So either way, another first down, or Tom Brady knows what downs there are, you're walking away with a loss. So I actually kind of like that. I mean, I like Matt Nagy. I think that he's kind of a little weird guy. I think he's a little paranoid, obviously, with the kicker situation and some other stuff. But I think when things are going well, he's a pretty good motivator. I think we saw that in 2018. He seems like a guy that I would want to play for. I think that the guys in that room like playing for him. And look, this is they've played 4 games, and they played 5 games, and they've extracted 4 wins in difficult circumstances, 3 comebacks. And I think that reflects well on the coaching staff.
100%.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, I think we haven't heard that sort of fire out of him so far in his tenure. And I don't know if that's based on the guy that he knows is under center now is more capable, maybe in that regard, where you're not so worried about this or that, but now you can worry about absolutely fine-tuning things.
But that's the thing that always drove me nuts about Nagy, was that he did Trubisky with the kid gloves. It's like, what do you have to lose? Take the governor off. Let it rip with this kid. Like, what's the worst that can happen? I mean, you treat him with kids' gloves, and he failed. So why didn't you go the other way? That's always rubbed me the wrong way.
I don't know if that means he just didn't grasp the concepts. If he wasn't, it didn't fully grasp, and he wasn't all, cerebral
Right.
with it as Foles is. I mean, I guess you could put that 2 and 2 together, but I mean, when it comes to Nagy, I mean, he's not in the defense. I mean, that's all Pagano. So this is his baby, and it's this baby that's really holding them back. So he should be pissed off because this is his name's all over this, and he needs it to produce.
You mentioned Tom Brady, not knowing how many. What were your thoughts on this? Because we're talking about the greatest of all time, and he's having like a J.R. Smith moment here. I'm like sitting there like, what is he ordering? Some cheeseburgers? Because you're on three. You'll see that in baseball sometimes, Kevin, where even the umpire will get fooled and they'll let a guy have 4 strikes instead of 3, but he thought he was going to get 5 downs instead of 4. Your thoughts there?
I loved it. I wrote before the season like 10 things that I absolutely wanted out of the season, and I think like number 6 or number 7 was a win over Tom Brady because he hadn't done it. I still remember in 2002 sitting in a bar in Kansas City watching the 1-6 Bears go up against the Patriots in at Champaign, and Brady throwing the ball 55 times, which was not the norm for him then.
No.
And them actually outlasting them. And then again in 2006, when the Bears had a great season, I was actually covering that game in Foxborough, and Brady juiced Urlacher out of his sneakers. And it's just even dating back to 2 years ago when the Bears could have won on that last second Hail Mary, and that would have changed things because had they won one more game, I think that would have given them home field advantage, if I'm not mistaken. And then you're not in position for double doink. So I wanted this one.
And then I feel like not only with the Nick Foles history he's had in the Super Bowl, but I feel like now that he's in the NFC, we saw at the end of the game Nick Foles looking to shake the man's hand, and obviously with coronavirus, and we saw with Patrick Mahomes getting too close to a guy. Probably not best, but there's Tom running off the field, not giving even a little dap, because we did see a picture of him giving Justin Herbert just a week before that adulation. So your thoughts of Tom Brady saying, see you later. Maybe he was saying see you in the playoffs, Nick.
I didn't realize that Herbert, that he had a run with Herbert. So I guess that changes things a little bit. But yeah, with the coronavirus thing, I don't understand why these guys are mixing anything more than they have to. And look, keep everyone away from Nick Foles. Let's put it like, I don't need him shaking anyone's hand. Like, keep the dude healthy. So I didn't hate it, but like just kind of going back to the last question, like beating Tom Brady was awesome, but then to actually have it like land with before was just kind of the cherry on top.
Maybe one of his most epic losses ever, if you don't include his Super Bowl losses. Any non Super Bowl or playoff loss, it definitely rings up there because it was like a senior moment for the GOAT. He thought there was 5 outs instead of he only had 4. So really interesting stuff. And to go back a little bit to our guys on defense, there's so much talk about the quarterback in the city, but this was the day for Khalil Mack. What are your thoughts with this guy? I'm sure you're happy that we made the trade when we did.
He's the only person who in Chicago free agent history where I bought his jersey the minute it came out. And so kind of see him kind of come back into where he was in 2018 and with the Raiders beforehand, because he had a down year last year and he struggled with injury. To see that last night, and I think one of the other things I wrote in the newsletter that I was like, I want as many Khalil Mack GIFs that I can get out of the season, and that's a pretty good GIF. So
do you call it a GIF or do you call it a GIF? I call it a GIF.
I call it GIF, but
what do you call it, Jake?
I call it a GIF. But Greg used to call it GIF.
I don't know what I call it.
He used to call. I remember because we had a conversation about this.
Oh,
so
man.
I don't know if you saw Midway Minute, the Twitter account. I actually reached out to Kayla Harrison, the great Olympic gold medalist judo champion from America, and I said, can you rate his throw technique here? And she actually responded, and he said he needs to put a little bit more hip into it, but it's all right. So that was kind of fun.
So what was the bigger play for you? Was it the Mack sack in the throw of the left tackle?
It's Fuller.
Or my goodness, that'll never get old.
No, look, it was a great play, and I think if the Bears end up going to the playoffs and actually doing something, we're going to look and say that's where it changed, because that allowed the Bears to go in to halftime with a lead.
That was
4-1 is a lot different for 3-2 from a playoff odds perspective, and that was just great. And not only did he not get called for a penalty, because we've seen him get called for a penalty in that situation before, but to actually have the refs give them the ball was just great.
I know, it's surreal. How many times have we seen when they'll randomly we'll challenge something, and then in the reveal they'll find out that it goes against us. So we definitely have no luck when it comes to that. And we also have no luck when it comes to our kickers. And I got to say, this shot that we got, I mean, how surreal of a scene. It's almost like they photoshopped the fans out and photoshopped Parkey out and photoshopped the kick that went off the post twice, and everything that was supposed to be right 2 years ago went through the uprights. What were your thoughts as Santos was lining up for that kick? Did you ever in a million years think he was going to make that kick?
So if someone gave me $100 bill and it's like, which way do you place it for him to miss or make it? Like you would have put it on miss, right? Like you thought that was coming. And then to see that angle, I think Bears Barroom tweeted, those goalposts have never looked closer together. It's totally true.
Well, he hit that 47-yarder too right before that, and that was I couldn't believe he hit that kick.
And you see the way it curls. Robbie used to play that curl very nicely. Do you think Santos is learning, or do you think that was a lucky kick? Because he has trouble making kicks. He hasn't been really all that great. So are we supposed to believe in this guy now? Because I know Nagy was gassing him up in the presser after the game.
So he didn't have a great ending in Kansas City, right? And I think that maybe yesterday was like a year to the date of his worst performance in Kansas City. I saw the headline and I didn't look closer to it. Titans, okay.
Wasn't he kicking for Titans? Yeah. He was a Chiefs kicker.
They obviously have a decision to make with Pinheiro whenever he's healthy enough to come back, and that's a pretty murky situation. But they've got Kai Forbath maybe waiting in the wings, for maybe a Corona or COVID situation. But Santos, he's done what he needs to do, I guess, because he came up big. But he also missed a couple big ones earlier in the season, so it's hard to say. And look, like they obviously don't have a lot of confidence in him because they're throwing the ball to Allen Robinson and what was that on second down on that last drive. So
I love that call, and I know
I didn't hate it.
In retrospect, it could have been bad, but I love that call because if they would have got that, they could have ran that clock and it's been a chip shot kick. So
I actually loved it because I was sitting on a 6-leg same game parlay and needed an Allen Robinson touchdown.
Oh, okay. Damn.
So like I was saying, we've been honored to be able to put our picks into your newsletter each week for your pregame specials.
Greg picks it.
And I'm twisting in the wind here because the first 3 weeks I hit it on the head. I always feel like I got a good beat on this team. Then they make the quarterback switch. I get all hyped up after Foles goes off against the Falcons. Then I get tricked. They beat the Colts or lose to the Colts. Then I get tricked back because now I think they're going to lose to the Bucs, and now they're back to being good. Where do I go now? Because I'm losing credibility by the week. Brendan's taking
that Panthers one is going to be tricky to pick, right? I mean, it's going to be a tricky one. So I don't. It's not an easy thing to do, especially when you're a Bears fan. You hate picking against them, and
right. Because now I'm feeling like the jinx. I'm worried about the jinx. I don't want to pick against them. Like this time, I picked against them and they won. So do I pick against them again? So they win. That's sometimes my brain gets like that. Is that weird?
You don't have that much power. Don't fool yourself.
Scott Coral said he's not going to pick against the Bears, or he's not going to pick the Bears the rest of the way because I think he's 1-4, and he's picked the wrong way every way. So.
Pick opposites.
Yeah.
Well, Kevin, we appreciate all your time here coming on Brags in the Stands, and we hope that you're a regular guest here on our show.
Yeah,
we appreciate everything you do for us to help support our cause, and we're always going to help support what you're trying to do over there. And your final thoughts after what we saw last night, after everything we've seen here these first 5 weeks, what are your thoughts here now with the Chicago Bears moving forward?
I think I wrote in today's newsletter, it's, this is a team we're following, and I don't think any of us know how it's going to end, but they haven't given up. I think they're a fun team to watch, and they're kind of rewarding with us. I mean, they could have packed it in. They could listen to us on Twitter bitching and moaning, and they don't. And they've eked out these wins, and they've come away with victories. And I think as a fan, that's pretty much all you can ask for. Yeah, Super Bowl victories are nice, and if that happens, awesome. We need that. It's been 35 years. The last time they won, I was 6 years old. I have a daughter who's 6 years old right now. I'd like her maybe to experience the same thing. But, if it doesn't happen, at least they're leaving it all on the field. And I think it's going to be a fun few months to the season.
Okay, and for our listeners that have been tuning in and will tune in later, why don't you give them an idea of where they can find you on all the different social media platforms?
Yeah, so the biggest thing is follow the newsletter 3 days a week, midwayminute.win. It also includes that Bears pregame newsletter. I include 3 prop bet picks in there. I'm not an expert by any means, but through 4 weeks of actually doing it, I've 2 for 3 each week. So I think I'm not an accountant, but I think that ends up making you money. So, it's a fun newsletter. You're a subscriber, Greg. I appreciate that. And more people can sign up, the better. So you can sign up at midwayminute.win, WIN.
Absolutely. And I'll definitely be encouraging as many of the fans as I possibly can to do that. We appreciate your time once again. Look forward to seeing what we can do. Hopefully I can get my picks on the right track here. I got 10 days to prep and do my homework. I got to lock in and get this right. Brendan, I'm the super fan, and Brendan picks them to win.
Panthers,
Now I look bad. Now I look like this pessimistic fan. I can't be having that.
All right, guys.
Kevin, have a great night. Enjoy your Friday. Thanks again for coming on, and we'll talk to you here real soon.
All right, we'll see you.
Bear down. All
Good stuff.
Kevin Kaduck from the Midway Minute.
You just called him Kaduck again.
Kaduck. I'm sorry. It's a Midwestern thing.
Isn't it
Kaduck. I got to say it like a million times in my head because I said it the other way for so long, and now I can't get it out of my head. So that's an apologies to Kevin. Kevin's my guy. He knows that. I just got a silly, Northwest Indiana accent. Don't mind me.
Pissed at you.
Kevin Kaduck. Bears, so make sure you follow the Midway Minute, and he's our guy, and we're in his newsletter for every pregame, for all his pregames for the Bears football. So really cool stuff. We're honored to be a part of that, and some really cool people that pick along with. That's the cool part about it is not only do I get to embarrass myself with picks, but I'm also involved with some other people. You got Kevin to make his picks, and then Scott Corral, his co-host that they do their little podcasts, and Maggie Hendricks is in there. She's been covering Chicago sports for a long time in the city. Michael Kim, he's an announcer on Marquee Sports Network for the Chicago Cubs, and then Alyssa Barbieri and Brendan Segru, they're both there over there at the Bears Wire. So Brendan got the big dub and got it right over all of us this week, so that was a big shout out to him. So before we move on to our weekly segment of Johnny B for 3, we do have to hit up our guy Brian Potter and our sponsor, as we always do, and that means Jake's gonna put up some nice soothing music. So I hit this.
You want soothing music? Okay,
I like the soothing music a little better.
How's that?
Yeah, I kind of need the soothing after everything.
I need to get more music. I keep playing the same song.
We'll work on that. That's okay. After everything we went through yesterday, I gotta calm my nerves. So
you better do it before the song ends.
I will do that. And this Kevin Kaduck interview is brought to you by Fanbags Cornhole, Chicago's official supplier of professional cornhole boards and bags. Choose from any of their officially licensed designs or have my boy Brian design a custom set using anything from a selfie to your company's logo. Visit www.fanbagscornhole.com and use the promo code BRAGS to get 10% off your entire order. That's www.fanbagscornhole.com and use the promo code BRAGS for 10% off. Step up your game with Fanbags Cornhole. I screwed up a couple lines in there, so next week I'm going to have to hit it even better because I'd give that maybe a B-. What would you grade that at?
D probably.
D. You're a tough grader. I thought you'd be in a better mood after a Big Bears win and after your lucky fantasy victory over me, which has still got me hot. I didn't even want it the whole day after you beat me on Monday. I didn't want to even talk
Greg
to you.
treats fantasy like I am controlling what these players are doing. He gets mad at
on his
me.
face. Do you see the stupid smirk on his face, everyone, ladies and gentlemen? This is why I'll even bring Johnny into this. Johnny B for 3 coming up.
What's up, boys?
Look at this stupid smirk on his face, Johnny. Jake tries to pretend like he doesn't care.
I don't care.
Fantasy.
I care about the Bears. All I care about.
Then he beats me in fantasy, and he's doing this thing where he acts like he doesn't care, but I know he cares.
I don't care.
Winners win, Greg. Winners win. I'm in it myself, so
how do you feel about him trying to act like he doesn't care?
Well, look, Johnny.
That smirk was definitely like he beat your butt for sure.
I know he cares. He's squirming.
I mean, you are the one that says you're our king and stuff. So when you take the king,
you talk shit all the time.
I wear heavy lieth the crown when you're the king. I won the championship, and I know he cares. And in the game, it was the Falcons and the Packers. And Todd Gurley, if he doesn't run in the fourth quarter, I'm going to beat him in fantasy. And the whole drive, Todd Gurley's on the sidelines with his jacket, and they keep panning over to him. And he's got his jacket on, and I'm over at my buddy Pete's house, and I'm like, I know Jake's freaking out right now. And
I really wasn't.
I totally jinxed it because I'm laughing because the guy's got his jacket on, and then they don't get in the end zone, and then out comes running Gurley, and on the first run, he charges in to beat me by 4 points. It just irritates me to no end.
But here's the thing: you had points on your bench. It was your fault that you didn't win. It's not my fault. You had points on your bench that would have beaten me.
It's
garbage.
That's your bad decision, sir.
It really pisses me off to no end, and I'm not gonna lie about it. I wear my heart on I want to beat Jake. So then the next day when he tried to soften the blow, and thank you, Grant Sims. I'm trying not to cut people off. I just cut Jake off now because he beats me in fantasy football. But I'm not making no bones about it. I want to beat Jake. The next day he's trying to make trades with me. No, I ain't having none of it, Johnny B. I am taking this dude.
I need trades. I got Chubb knocked out of that game. I had Noah Fant get knocked out of that game, and I still won. So I was like, look, I might have won today, but I'm kind of screwed now going forward, so I need to make some moves.
Well,
the win like sympathy. That, when you're losing guys in a win, you don't even care.
Johnny,
it's
do you give any sympathy to the guy that's 4-0 in our fantasy league, and by last I checked, he's leading in our pickups?
I beat Johnny by like 3 points. I mean, I've just gotten lucky. That's all it is.
Yeah, I'm getting hot now though. That was early. I'm really feeling it. I feel sorry for nobody in any competition because that's what competition is. You know what they say in Cobra Kai: strike first. Let's go.
Right.
And we have to make sure we give our guy Chubbs 82. He told us all last week that the Browns were going to win, and then he did. So shout out to you, Chubbs. You're a sage.
I did take the over on that game.
Okay.
It was not directly because of Chubbs, but I did take the over in that game. Obviously, it was smashed.
It just feels weird to take the Browns. But, yeah, I had to start this segment by undressing Jake because he had me so upset earlier in the week. I hate when he beats me, but it's probably good that he beat me early because then, sometimes when you sneak away with that win early, you're going to meet him later, maybe in the playoffs, and then that's never a good feeling when you got their GOAT.
He's still talking about this.
I know. I'm not done with it because we can go to the pick'ems right now if you want, because the other thing that pisses me off, Johnny, and this is where it's all going to come
Johnny's
full circle
time now, Greg.
This is where it's going to come full circle is we're submitting our pick'ems to Jake. So he sees our picks, then he makes his picks. What do you think about that?
Well, you could do the art. You could do the work. I don't want to do the the graphic work.
I'm hoping that when I send my picks to him Thursday, that he has already made his picks and he's an honorable man. So that's what I'm assuming. He feels like an honorable man to me.
I'm asking you to make your picks. I've made my picks.
I know, Greg, you call him names all the time, that he's a snake and all this other stuff. But I don't have that reference for him. So I'm assuming he's honorable.
My snake defense systems are at an all systems are go right now. So I got my guards up with everything from the fantasy to the pick.
I'll still make trade with you, Greg. I'm ready to go.
I don't trust him with trade. See what he's doing? See that little snake smirk? I'm not falling for it. So
I need players, man. I'll trade with anybody.
Let's move on
it's
to
Johnny's time.
Johnny B
the
for
main
3.
man.
I wanted to get all that out of the way because it was built up in my chest.
Greg needed a little
therapy time for Greg there.
We had such a great interview with our guy Kevin
on the
from
couch.
Midway Minute. So now I need to take a breather.
Yeah,
the
please
floor
do.
is yours, Johnny B for 3. Make our listeners some money, my friend. Welcome
What kind
back.
of tunes do you want, Johnny?
Give me something with a little funky. You got something a little funky? Like we're making money. We're strutting down Las Vegas Boulevard. Or for me, I go to downtown Las Vegas, Fremont Street. That's where I roll. So, all right. What's everybody doing this week? The Bears get it done. How about that throw to Montgomery? That's the play of the game. I know everyone's going to say the Fuller. Obviously, that changed the game. But the play of the game is to Montgomery. We're 7-5 so far with the show picks. Getting into week 4, we're starting to get really serious. But I'm 6-0 on game day picks, including 2-0 in game day picks last week. We did one on Sunday, and then we did one on Monday. So last week we had the Seahawks -6. We crushed that. We had the AFC contenders parlay with the Ravens and the Chiefs teased. We crushed that. And if you got that bet in early when Cam was still playing, you got some really nice odds on that. If you waited, it was still okay. But if you got the odds when Cam was still playing, you really crushed it. The only loss on the show picks, I hate to say it and kill all the mojo, but was the Bears against the Colts. I still don't even know what in the heck happened that game. But we're going to forget about that loss, not take it so hard. And then the game day picks, I did a video that Bragg and Jake retweeted, and we took the Ravens and Rams on a tease -7, crushed that. And then my Monday night football game day pick was the Chiefs -4 and the Packers -1. I mean, you want to talk about free money? You want to talk about a mortgage payment bet? That was it right there. I mean, that was easy street. Even with the score at the halftime of the Chiefs game, we know Mahomes rolls in the second half. 0% worry. So let's get into this week's picks. So right now we're 7-5 with the show and 6-0 for our game day picks, and that puts us at an overall of 13-5. Let's go into this week's picks. My number one pick, I'm going to go tease. There's a lot of big lines out here this week. I'm going to go Chiefs -6.5. Put them with the Cowboys, tease down to -4, and you're actually getting plus money on that. The Chiefs are going to destroy the Raiders like they always do. And the Cowboys, they're going to score. They're scoring a lot. Zeke's going to get it together. Cowboys are going to get on track. And plus 112 there. I mean, I think that's free money. That's easily my number one pick of the week. Let's roll with the number 2. I'm going to stick with those Cowboys. You know what? They score a lot of points. Yeah, the defense is a little whatever, but sometimes you got to have pride, and I think they're going to really put it together this week, and I'm actually expecting probably a 14 to 20-point victory, but we're going to take those Cowboys at -7. Those odds on there are a little bit wrong. Let me see what I have for the Cowboys -7. Cowboys -7's at 140, -140. So if you want to roll that at -9.5, you can to get some better odds. I think they'll cover that, but I'm going to take it down to -7. You know, a touchdown, an easy victory over the Giants, no problemo. And we'll go into the third pick. Texans. I mean, does anybody like Bill O'Brien? Nobody likes Bill O'Brien. His team doesn't like. The fans don't like him. I mean, they got rid of DeAndre Hopkins. Are you serious? I'm going to take the Texans without Bill O'Brien, -4 against the Jags at home. Deshaun Watson's going to go off. I'm expecting them to put up at least 35 points, if not over 40. And I'm taking the Texans -4 at -139. I'm going to have some game day picks coming up, at least one. I got a couple other plays I really, really like this week, but we're going to wait and see how the week goes. Sometimes as we get closer to the game, things make a little bit more sense. But once again, our overall record is 13-5, 7-5 on the show, which we're doing on a Friday, a couple games before, and our game day picks 6-0. Let's go. And I love it. I like the picks this week.
Nice.
Absolutely.
Feeling it.
Feeling it, Johnny B.
That is the funky beat I was looking for, Jake.
I think that's the one I typically go with you. I literally have, 12 songs?
Funky beat.
That's my song right
there. That's your jam for sure. It goes well with the cash register too.
Funky beat for a funky guy.
Yeah, I like to get funky, no doubt. Just for the record, this is the longest in my life that I've been without going to Las Vegas to do betting or poker or something in my entire life. The last time I was in Las Vegas, I came home on March 1st. I finished a tattoo. I played some poker tournaments. And I don't know how many months that is. It's got to be 8 or 9 months. But this needs to get figured out. Let's go.
Yeah.
We need to get this figured out because I need to get back to Las Vegas and do my thing.
I've never been to Vegas once.
What?
No, never.
Yeah, we need to go to the new sports book. Did you hear about this?
The one with the big pool?
Yes, there's a new sports book. I hang out downtown a lot where all the hustlers and all, like, it's not as glitzy. It's a little bit more rugged, like Johnny.
Play.
Yeah, I like it downtown. That's where the World Series of Poker used to be held. I play poker down there. I got some really good stories for another show from that area. But anyway, it's a new hotel called Circa, C-I-R-C-A. I think it's called Circa. And they have a huge sports book set up with all these pools and like movie screen size.
Sounds awesome.
You make your bets and you can chill out the pool. I'm sure they got a lot of, pretty waitresses. I know they got like women waitresses, men waitresses. They got everything in Vegas now. So if you're a girl and a woman, you like to bet sports, they got it all. I mean, a little bit something for everybody. But I mean, great concept. It's supposed to open up at the end of this month.
Yeah,
I saw the pictures are unbelievable. I shared them along when they first released. I'll have them for the show next week and we can talk a little bit about it because I've never been to Vegas either. And when the Bears play the Raiders, if all this is past us, I definitely want to go for that. But I want to go in general. My buddy's having a bachelor party next year that they're trying to drag me to, but I don't know. We'll see. I'll be the guy that gets lost on a roof in Vegas, like in The Hangover. There's no question about
I
that.
was supposed to be there. Actually, I had tickets for the Chiefs Raiders first game with Vegas versus the Chiefs. I had a client of mine buy them for my birthday, and then we got the email that they canceled all fans for the year. So it's unfortunately.
They went a full year already.
They already said they're not going to do anything for the whole year. I think because it's a new stadium and just the vibe of it, they don't want to do it halfway. Just like
like LA.
Yeah, they want to just kind of get the full experience whenever that is. But there's nothing better, in my opinion, than Vegas. On a September, October day, even November, when it's 80 degrees or more, and you got all those bets going and so much action. And the games in Vegas because it's Pacific time. A lot of people don't know that. They start at 10 a.m.
I love that. I would love for games to start at 10
stay out
a.m.
till 6 a.m., sleep 4 hours, and let's go football all day. And then obviously March Madness is epic as well. I mean, the first
I'd love to get out and play
days of March Madness is ridiculous.
I wouldn't mind, I guess, a 10 a.m. start. We see that with when they have the games in London, they start early, and I don't mind like the one game, but I wouldn't want my game to be the 10 a.m. kickoff. So if like I lived out there, I'd want my games to be the second set, which I know a lot of West Coast teams, that's what they have, are the second slate of games typically. But yeah, I wouldn't want to. I don't know if I could get dialed up for my team at 10 a.m. in the morning.
Well, we would get up and go at like 4 a.m. to go tailgate. So you could do it.
Yeah, you just.
I'd find a way. I'm not saying I wouldn't, but that's why, like when they moved.
It's all it is.
When they moved the Bears game on Sunday to 3:00, there were a lot of Bears fans pissing and moaning about it. And I was like, this is just more pregame time. We get, like Jake said, we get to enjoy the first set of games. It was. I like when games are later or at night. Personally, I know some people don't like the anticipation.
I do like noon Bears games, but now that we do post game, I don't get to watch afternoon games really, so that was nice. And Sunday will be nice.
So it was nice. We got a little day, because when it's a noon game, we are making the sacrifice for you, the listeners. We want to give you the best post-game shows we possibly can here at Brags and Stands, and we can't wait till we go to games, and maybe you'll be seeing that sooner than you think. You never know. But
shall we check out the picks here?
You're also, absolutely. And before we do, I'd like to get Johnny's thoughts on your Chiefs. We asked you last week. They were going up against the Patriots, and now, with the whole COVID stuff, they were trying to battle through it, and they found a way to win. How did you feel about that? That would seem like a pretty easy win for them, huh?
Yeah, well, this is the world that I'm living in right now. Obviously, Belichick has some good schemes against us in the past where he's held Mahomes down for a little bit. And definitely it was weird with the timing. And then, we have some fans in the stands, but it's still minimal, even though they've been pretty loud for the 16,000 that are there. So I thought Mahomes just missed a couple throws, and then you had the Sammy Watkins fumble. We never trailed in the game. The defense played spectacular. A lot of takeaways. I think we had 4 takeaways, 2 or 3 sacks. And we win by 16 points, and everybody's saying we suck. It's hilarious. Like, I love it. You win by basically, 2 possessions, touchdowns with 2 2-point conversions, and everybody say you suck. So the Raiders haven't beat us in like 5 years, but good luck with that. So
he just dusted that one right off.
Good luck with that. If you look at our record, I think we're 28-2 the last 30 games against the AFC West. So good luck with all those AFC West games. And we're just rolling. We actually haven't played a noon game yet because we've been on prime time.
You're
baby.
prime time. You got the prime time.
Prime time constantly.
I just love how your face changed as soon as you're talking about something. Then I pull this up, and your eyes kind of just change. You're like, "What in the?" You get so chesty for your Chiefs, and I appreciate that about you. Yeah, no, the Chiefs are rolling as per usual. But I was curious to see if the Belichick, how we talked about last week, how he always wins when he's the underdog. Well, that didn't come to pass as you predicted. So there's Eric Henderson. Eric Henderson asking if we're still live and but watching our show. Eric, yes, we are. Welcome to Brags in the Stands. Our fellow Mean Streets of Aspen Trail.
Man, it's so tough.
President. He's still holding it down over there. So yes, Jake, let's get to our
Let's roll
picks
into some picks, shall we?
Just another thing Jake's so great at, just like fantasy football.
Well, let me kill this logo so I can see Johnny's name.
Yeah,
so Johnny and I are separate by 1 pick now.
My God, look how I told you once week 4 comes, baby.
Once we get around, I had a pretty bad week last week. So, all right, Greg, I'm trying to do something here, man.
You're fine. You're fine. Go ahead. Go about your business.
So we're 1 pick apart. Greg's at 38. Greg and I had some common picks last week, so we shared some losses, but Johnny be creeping up, and I have a feeling that crown is not going to be on my head next week.
Crown's coming my way soon. I feel it.
I think it is. So here we go. So starting out, we all had a bad call. We all went Bucs. Totally busted. Happy it did. Couldn't be more thrilled with that one.
That's obviously the jinx you guys were looking for, and it was
absolutely lovely. Yeah, I love that one. So here we got Jacksonville, Houston. Johnny B and me got Texans. I'm feeling like you are. I think Texans are going to be motivated, losing their coach to come back and hang one on the Jags. Greg's got the Jags. Baltimore Bengals that may be without what's his face? Why can't I think of his name right now?
Jackson.
Yeah, Jackson. So I doubt that'll happen, but he's questionable. But we're all taking Ravens there. Panthers, Falcons, Johnny B and me both calling Falcons. I think they're absolutely due. They put up a good fight against the Packers last week, so I'm thinking that this is the week that they hang one up on a division rival. Greg's got the Panthers. All across the board, Chiefs against the Raiders. All across the board, Steelers, Eagles, Rams against the football team, which I hate saying. All across the board, Niners against the Dolphins, Cowboys against the Giants. Johnny and I both have Browns to beat the Colts. The Colts are shorthanded this week. I think they're losing Anthony Costanzo.
They'll be fine.
I think they're yeah, two of their linebackers are out as well. That's a really good rushing offense.
Kareem Hunt, 140 yards, a book it.
So we're both taking Browns. Greg's got the Colts. Across the board, Seahawks against Vikings, which I like. Patriots against Broncos. And then we got one here. We got Saints, Chargers. I'm going Chargers in this one. I like Herbert. I like what they did last week against the Bucs, even though they lost. Saints have been a little off kilter. I'm taking Chargers here. Greg and Johnny taking Saints. And then we all have the Bills, which I hope they even play this game, across the board against the Titans.
I mean, that's pretty amazing. We're going to have games Thursday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. I mean, that's pretty awesome.
It is. It's interesting. We'll have only a day lull between the start of week 6, right? Or they not have – wait, the Chiefs were playing that Thursday night, right? So they got moved to Sunday. Is that correct?
Yeah, there was some talk about Saturday. I don't know if I've seen an official announcement from the actual NFL. It's just the sources. But I heard possibly Saturday on that game too. But, yeah, I've been hearing more Sunday.
Does that mean they've killed Thursday night for next week?
As long as if the Bills play Tuesday, Thursday is killed.
Okay, so I was thinking they would – yeah, I forgot that they're moving Chiefs out of that spot. So there you go. So there is no Thursday night football, but you get Tuesday night football. So
whatever. Yeah, I meant like this week, this Thursday and going on. But
Right.
if the Titans test positive again and that game gets canceled with the Bills for some reason the next couple days, then the Chiefs-Bills game will go back to Thursday, I heard.
They better make that decision, because I got guys going on a Tuesday that I'm counting on for fantasy. If they cancel that game and all the other games are off, that would absolutely screw whoever's playing any sort of fantasy players for a Tuesday night. So
yeah,
I should make that call before actual game day, I'd hope.
It'll be interesting. I've got my eyes on these damn Titans because, as I teased a little bit ago, we might have our first ever Brags in the freaking stands where I belong episode when the Bears travel to Tennessee. I got my eyes on that game because they allow fans in the games. And,
I have my eyes on a game as well in Kansas City.
That was something I wanted to talk to you. That was something I thought you. So I thought you had already planned on going to a game. You
know what? I just with going to so many games last year, I counted them up. I think I ended up going to like 11 maybe games, including the playoffs and the Super Bowl, both on the road and at Arrowhead. So with all the experiences I had and the semi capacity, it's a little bit of a downer for me after the Super Bowl high and all the parties and everything that happened at the Super Bowl, and obviously the epic comeback and all that. I just don't want to go there and be disappointed, with a 25% capacity, and it's not cheap. I mean, it's definitely not cheap to go.
It's a little.
Kansas City. I mean, as a ticket holder, they give us opportunity to have a pre-sale to get the tickets first, but they're not doing us any favors on the price. That's for sure. I mean, my seat is covered up by a banner.
Surprisingly, for resale market for what I'm looking at with the Titans, you can get them off StubHub. You can get them off any old website that you normally can. I'm using some different outlets of my own disposal to try to find some, but I've had an offer of 160, 170 a piece. So I paid that to go to a Bears game full capacity. If it meant being the only game I get to go to this year, I'll do it. And
the Bears play Jacksonville, right? Jacksonville has fans as well.
Well, and then this upcoming week, because I was talking to our guy Paul, the Road Warrior Zawicki, who hasn't been to a game and holds the longest streak of any Bears fan or any fan of any team ever, and no one will ever break it kind of fan. He is traveling to Carolina for the upcoming Bears-Panthers game because they're allowing I believe 10,000 or 15,000 fans or 10,000 in just the lower bowl. And you can get tickets in the end zone to the Carolina Bears game for like little under $200 a piece, and you're like 10 rows up in the end zone. And when I tell you that I Googled how many hours it takes to drive to Bank of America, it's 10 hours and 37 minutes from my home. So yes, I've been thinking about it because that's what I live for. I know that's what Johnny lives for. And I know that Jake, there's nothing he loves more than going to the games. And that's what I'm all about here at Brags in the
double
Stands.
doink game.
So yeah, well, as much
as
I don't want those experiences, and I know some fans might cringe, but that's the history of your team. I went to Game 7 of the NLCS
failure
2003. Well, because I believe one day we're gonna win it, Jake. So it makes the story more sweeter. The tea is sweeter when you've been through the trials and tribulations. And
a lot of people think that tea with no sweetness in it is just dirty water. So
exactly right. Exactly. And Johnny
knows
of all
plenty
people
about
knows
shitty Chiefs teams.
Exactly. I mean, how many years before the Chiefs finally brought the glory home?
Pain, dude. Pain. Years of pain. Do not give up, Bears fans. Years of pain.
I don't think you'll see any Bears fan give up. We're the city of the Chicago Cubs, 108 years. I knew people that were 100 years old that never saw their team win. You want to talk about true, sadness. That's living your whole life to never see the Bears win. I don't think we're going to get to that point. I think the Bears are going to win one day in our lifetime, and that double doink will be a distant memory. And yeah, it's tough. You don't want those moments, but there's a sick part of me that kind of takes pleasure from things like that, because then you can say you were there, you witnessed history, and then when they win it is that much sweeter. Just speaking as a Cub fan, I know from experience, and I was lucky enough to go to the World Series. I don't know if we'll all be able to go to the Super Bowl. Johnny was able to sit in the stands at the Super Bowl, and that is the glory that I'm looking for. Right here.
Never gets old.
I am looking for that glory that Johnny got to live last year. So I don't blame you at all, Johnny, for taking a year off from going to games, but if I can get to one, I'm going to. So Tennessee, Nashville, can you just hold it down for a couple weeks? Get this
COVID
game in.
hotspot.
Get this game in on Tuesday. I'll come down there. I'll behave. I'm not going to ruffle it. I'm not going to talk to anybody. I'm not going to breathe in anyone's face. Nothing. I'm going to wear I got my mask on now. I'll have my mask up. I'll wear the mask for the next month like this. I'll sleep like this if it means that I can go to a game here in a few weeks. So that's what I got my eyes on when it comes to that. But we also got our eye on one other thing here when it comes to Johnny B.
We're at the drag strip today because we actually have.
It's the wrong one. I had my drop. See, I messed it up. Pardon my French.
Ducks line up. Ducks line up. Up.
That's my cue for my Johnny B. So why don't you give us an update, because we've been teasing this Ducks race for the Bears here for a few weeks now, and we're getting very close to debuting it here on Brags on the Stage.
Debut is close. I'm feeling it. We got it. It's going to be a Bears Legends duck race. We're going to give you a preview of that duck race next week on the show, so you get to see kind of what we're doing. We're also going to introduce a couple prizes from one of my partners that does some work with me with the Kansas City duck race, but he also did a nice Jordan piece called Jumpman. His name is Chris Chansey, and it's a Jordan piece. I know it doesn't have to do with football, but it has to do with Chicago sports, and that's the only Chicago piece that he did. So we're going to give away a couple of his prints. They're huge. They're beautiful. So we're going to figure out how we're going to do that. I think we'll announce the rules of the contest next week, and it's going to be a Chicago Bears Legends duck race, and it's going to be unique and just for Chicago, and it's going to debut and be for this show. Brags in the stands, baby.
That's what I'm talking about. So
awesome.
we've showed this on our show previously on maybe our first episode to give fans an idea of who you are, because you are known for your duck races, and we can even pull up your old YouTube thing so people know how to find you there. But I want to play the duck race that you do for the Chiefs to give fans an idea of what they're gonna see here when we do these for the Chicago Bears, because you are so great at not only doing the duck races, but the way you call it is what makes it so beautiful. So I want to share this again with our fans so they get an idea of what's to come for our Chicago Bears duck race.
We're at the drag strip today because we actually had some downpours, so it feels like we're going to go fast today. Ducks line up. Ducks line up. We're in the launch mode, and it's 5, 4, 3, 2. Mahomes is the chief for life. Turbocharged ducks have been waiting a long time to get it going. They say speed kills, but these ducks don't care because they want to show their stuff. It's Travis Kelce followed by the Cheetah going 1-2. It's Kelce and Cheetah bumping along the bank. Going 1-2, and now the Honey Badger gets involved. Kelce takes the lead. Now the Cheetah takes the lead. And now the Cheetah puts a little bit of space between him and the other ducks. And he's got the stream. And he's showing you why he's the fast one. And he's hit a little bit of a pool. And who's it going to be at the end? Oh, it's the Cheetah. Just outdoes Dirty Dan. The Cheetah gets it going. And guess what? He's the champion on Red Friday. It's raining ducks. I wasn't expecting any foul weather. Woo!
Love it.
Bringing the intensity.
Thank you.
That's awesome.
That's
going
what
to
we're
be fun
looking
to have
forward
that Bears
to
one.
here for Brags and Stands. Our Bears races,
Yeah,
all those little funny quips and everything else you bring to the table here.
I'm going to tell you right now that I filmed the race already. I sent Greg and Jake the clip, and they've seen it, and Greg made a comment on it, and it is not going to be what you expect at the end. That's
We've only seen the actual race, what happens in the race for about 2 seconds, and it was done.
Yeah,
so we don't know who wins. Don't know any of that.
They don't know who wins. And I have a Bears flag, obviously, for the finish line. So it's going to be the first duck, as you saw in there, to fly under the flag. And I do have a Bears flag and the Bears colors for that. And it's a good race for the first race, and you'll get to see who the ducks are. Which legends I pick, because it is a Bears Legends duck race. And I think it'll be a lot of fun. I'm excited for you guys to see it, and I think you're going to like the outcome. And I think the close of it is sweet.
Well, that's an
so how do
tease.
people pick their duck? How do they do that?
Well, it's funny as it's grown. Like I said, I think we're at about 160 races or so right now for the Kansas City Chiefs ones. I started April 1st. We went every day for a long time, and then obviously as the season started and things started getting back to a little bit normal, I've kind of cut it back a little bit. I give prizes away every week for my Chiefs one, but we've had a drought this summer, so that's kind of been the big issue, is that I just haven't had as much water as we normally have. Like that race, there was a ton of water that we just watched. So, yeah, it's going to be exciting. And what people would do is as it got bigger, they would just start, like making comments and on the Twitter line, or, DMing and like making their picks. And I've done some major events, like it's a major, like in a golf tournament or a tennis tournament or something like that, where season 1 led up to the Kentucky Derby. So they canceled the Kentucky Derby, so I called it the Kentucky Derby. And then, win, play, show, all that stuff. So it's been pretty interesting. We've done a Ducky 500 instead of the Indy 500 when they postponed that. We've done Top Gun theme from the movie Top Gun. I did Anchorman, Dodgeball. Talladega Nights instead of Talladega Nights. Talladega Nights was one of my favorites.
Can we do a Wedding Crashers one for the Bears?
Oh, for sure.
And and bring in all these little quips like you do. Try to get some Wedding Crash, because Wedding Crashers is one of the most quoted movies by me in my lifetime. So I'd love to bring that.
Yeah,
maybe
so
a Simpsons one.
When I do a movie like that, I try to call at least 75% or so of the race with calls, like lines from that movie, incorporate them into the race. Okay. Like Talladega Nights, for instance, it's like when he talks about how he pictures his baby Jesus, it's like how you picture your Patrick Mahomes. That's how I
Okay, I'm excited about this. We're really excited.
That's awesome. That's going to be a lot of fun.
Rolling this out, and that's right. The creek is flowing, Eric, and we're going to try when it is. That's when Johnny goes out and does his work, and we're going to try to get some races loaded up in the hoppers to get us through the winter. We'll see how many we can get in. It depends on the rain, and then I know Johnny's building his own custom track that should be ready for next year, you would think, next spring?
We'll see. I've got a couple different people that say they think they can do it. Cost is an issue. I'm trying to get somebody to help pay for it, sponsor and stuff like that. But we'll see. We'll see how it goes. Right now, I think we're good for a little while. I'm hoping that we get some rain here soon as we get more into fall, and then it'll be easy. I can film, 2-3 races in a day. Like I will say, the Bears race was one take, and when you see this race and you think it's one take, you're going to be like, "Damn, Johnny B nailed it."
Well, that's a good sign, that we're off to a good start with this. That means we're doing it right. And yeah, this is your first year doing this, and you started in the summer, so there's new elements to it, and this is bear weather now, so we're getting to the fall season. So do you think that the leaves are going to start playing a factor in these routes and, the creek that you put together?
Well, for sure. We started April 1st. That's when we started, right when the pandemic was really taking hold. And we actually had 1 week where it went from sunshine to 60 degrees to rain. And then we actually had in April quite a bit of snow. And there's actually 2 snow races where it looks like it's the middle of January, and those are pretty fun. One's the Winter Olympics edition of duck races, and the other one, I can't remember what I called it. I called it Winter Wonderland edition or something like that. So as we got more into summer, not only has the drought affected it, but everything is growing around the creek, like the grass and stuff like that. And there's even some vegetation in the creek bottom. So it's definitely been interesting. It's been a little bit trickier. There's been more obstacles as the creek grasses grow.
New tracks. It's like tennis on clay and on grass and whatever the third surface is.
This isn't your simple duck race. This isn't your daddy's duck race. All right,
There's a lot of factors. There's a lot of factors.
This is the big time.
Yeah, this isn't like duck races that your parents grew up with. Yeah, this is 2020 duck races.
Johnny B has taken duck races to the next stratosphere. And we're just along for the ride here at Brags in the Stands with Johnny B, because you have built a duck empire, and we appreciate you letting us a part of this, because it's a lot of fun.
Last check, there was like 20-something countries that I know for sure they've been viewed in.
Awesome.
So that's kind of cool,
Mr. Worldwide.
Really cool.
That's what you are, Mr. Duck Worldwide.
Isn't that like that one? What was that? The one guy says, Mr. Worldwide. He's that rapper.
Yeah, from Florida. What's his name?
Not Flo Rida, the other one.
Yeah.
It's a song
Jake, Mr. Worldwide.
Yeah, I know. I listen to the jazz fusion, gentlemen. So.
I'm drawing a blank.
Mr. Worldwide. Pitbull.
Pitbull. Dang it. Now,
Oh, yes. My favorite, Pitbull.
Can you pull up a Pitbull song, Jake? This is your magic right here. Pull up a Pitbull song?
I can't
Jake,
I can't pull up a Pitbull song if you want this on YouTube. They'll tear us down.
They'll tear us down. God, I hate these stupid rules.
You should get like 5 seconds for free. Damn.
I'll make a Pitbull song for you.
Next.
Yeah, that's not it.
That's every Pitbull song you'll ever hear right there.
No, his songs go like this. They're like, hey, 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 and they got my no bit, right? Isn't that
That's one of them.
Don't stop the
party.
They all have the Latin drum beat. Every one of them.
Mr. Worldwide. All right, that's enough of the Mr. Worldwide. So, Johnny B, we appreciate you getting your picks in. You know, no pregame or postgame for us on Sunday because the Bears have already got our win out of the way. So you're just catching up with us now at this point.
We're cruising now.
Johnny,
we have a nice weekend.
Bears fans are sitting
I'll probably
pretty,
put that game day pick out there. So obviously I'll tag you guys and I'll tag Braggs in the stands. I'll put that game day pick. I got a couple things I really like. Like I said, I'm just waiting to see what happens here as we get closer to kickoff. And I'll kind of go over the picks like we did last week. But the game day picks have been fired just because sometimes as we get closer to the games, things make more sense. I don't know if that makes sense. And I know what was the guy that was just on, Kevin from Midway Minute. He was talking about the prop bets. I want to talk about that a little bit. So what's kind of cool is the prop bets used to be something that was like only like for the Super Bowl, like first touchdown, like Greg bet, on the Super Bowl and all this stuff. But now because betting is so popular, it's becoming more digital. Like you could do it on your phone, or you can go to the sports book and hit on the kiosk and bet whatever you want. They're starting to do these prop bets on every game. So it's kind of fun. It's a good little way to make a little bit of money. Like I took a prop bet last night, and I took Barber over 62.5 yards rushing. And obviously that was crushed in the first half.
Crushed it.
So, they're kind of fun, but they're becoming more prevalent now because of the way that sports are being bet. So I was kind of fun. I thought that was
please
nice.
legalize this nationally. I'm dying to be able to play a sports book because
I heard that Tennessee is coming real soon in the next couple weeks.
Well, Texas
is coming.
Texas is too conservative, too religious, I think, to adopt that. It would have to go national, I think, before Texas just decides to do something like that.
Well, it is national, but the state has to decide.
Oh, is that true?
Yeah. So all the government now it's the states has to decide how they're going to do it or regulate it and decide when it's going to be legal.
You can't even, you can't play FanDuel in Texas either. You can play DraftKings, but you can't play FanDuel for whatever reason.
What's the difference?
I don't know, but for some reason, FanDuel doesn't operate in Texas. I don't know. So I just have to play DraftKings. That's all I got.
Well, that's my official. I don't know how I don't have a DraftKings sponsor yet, but
we're getting there. We're going to get you there, brother.
That's my number one.
I do own DraftKings stock. I do own.
Oh, yeah, Johnny B is on DraftKings stock. Let's go.
I grabbed it early.
What did you get it for?
I think. I grabbed it. What was it? I think it was like 20.
I don't even want to tell you.
I bet you got it probably about 14.
I got it before it was even DraftKings. The company it was before they merged.
Oh boy, here we go.
$11.08 a share or something.
Damn, that's nice. That is real nice. Now they were up. They were up to $63 last week. Now they've gone down a bit, but hey, I'll take that. I
didn't tell the world I had 10 shares I bought.
10 shares?
No, that's what I'm telling the world.
Oh, you're telling, yeah. I also have 10 shares.
Yeah, exactly. There you go. Now we're
talking.
You're ready to bet.
Yeah, I'm ready. Let's do this.
Keep making moves like that, gentlemen, and you guys are going to be the next Mr. Worldwide. Grant Sims is a huge fan of Pitbull. He's been naming off all the songs, Jake. So if you after the show, if you want to,
Grant's a big
fan? If you want to go find his catalog on YouTube, you can go. I'm sure that's what you're going to do.
I can't believe I couldn't pull Pitbull. I was embarrassed that I didn't come up with that myself. No.
But Johnny B, we always appreciate your time and all the insight you give to us with your gambling acumen and then the hard work you're bringing to the table with this duck races. We're really looking forward to it. So before we let you jet, why don't you give our listeners, our viewers, your final Johnny B for 3 thoughts, as you always do in such great, perfect fashion in the Johnny B way.
All right, now we're into past week 4. We're getting into week 5 here. Now it's time where we separate the men from the boys in the NFL. It's time to start making some serious money. NBA's finishing probably tonight. The baseball's winding down. So right now, for a while, we're just going to have NFL. And remember, money won is far sweeter than money earned. Johnny B, out. See you on the flip side, baby. Woo!
Let's go,
I didn't cut him off that time, so
we're hitting it. We're gonna.
I waited. I was expecting a woo, so I was like, all right, I better wait.
We are
before I
kind of
kill
like,
this.
we started our season basically, and we started this whole, enterprise basically right when camp started. So we're on the same trajectory of the 2020 Bears. We are building towards greatness. We're not there yet, but we're building towards it, and that's right. Grand Sims, like you said, where else but Brags in the Stands can you hear about portfolio conversation? Yeah,
Yes,
for me,
we should have more portfolio conversations.
absolutely. My uncle worked for Merrill Lynch.
Get out of here.
Yeah, so I have some
Shut the front
stock
door.
stuff in my jeans, and actually, his I don't know how to say it, but his grandson.
It's in your pockets, your jeans.
Yes, it's in my jeans, my Levi's. But speaking of jeans, the old Bragg's tree. This is a cousin of mine. He was nice enough to get a shirt, sweatshirt, and it's looking good on him.
Good. Yeah, looks good.
He's really excited about it because his last name is Braggs as well. So, but shout out to you guys. We appreciate everyone picking up their shirts. Kevin mentioned he was getting the Foles Royce shirt, and we appreciate all you guys, supporting this. Jake's got the Cash Mooney shirt. We've
Number
got
2
a lot
wide
of
receiver.
stuff. Yeah, you can get them in any color in our website here. I'll pull up the teespring.com so you know where to go. And Jake's put a lot of cool stuff in there. We've got some new ideas on the forefront. I'm always spinning ideas to Jake. Last night I tried to come up. What did I text you last night?
Last night he said, because Mac was having a good game, he said, "Holy mackerel." And we both agreed that was terrible and we would never speak of it again.
I said, "Holy mackerel," and put Mac in big letters. And I go, he did not even respond. So I knew
it was like he texted me
Bears
that, and it was like on their last drive, and I'm like, not now, Greg. I can't think about this.
Game, I've come up with holy mackerel, and he hates it. So then on the final drive, when the Bears hadn't taken the lead yet, and I go, Jake, say you like holy mackerel, and the Bears will win. And he refused to.
I couldn't do it. It's so bad. I couldn't go there. I had to be true to myself.
Pull it up. But you can also get our Extend AR shirt, which we're really proud of. You can go pick that up at the Brags in the Stands shop. You can get the Cash Mooney shirt, as we just showed. You can get the Foles Royce hoodie. It's hoodie season right now. And then, of course, the Brags in the Stands shirt that you just saw. My guy, my family wearing that. I love that. That's really cool. I was really proud to see that. So never really thought about it. Yeah, it's really cool stuff, and we're happy everybody's supporting our cause here. We just do it for fun. We're not doing it for the money. So to put stuff out there and people actually enjoy it means a lot to us, and we appreciate you. But yeah, we had a couple questions in the chat, and I did want to come back to this because I do get asked this a lot from my guy Chubbs. He asked, hold up. He asked me, how did I end up going to Game 7 in 2003 with the Chicago Cubs? And I'm not rich. I do have just different connections with people.
He's rich in spirit.
It's a great story because Steve Bartman in Game 6 of the NLCS, obviously the famed moment when Moises Alou, drops the ball and Bartman knocks it off. And it was literally the double doink moment of the Chicago Cubs. Well, that night, we share some season tickets. My mom helps sell some tickets with a lady that we've known for a long time. So we basically share these tickets with her and go to a lot of games through her. Well, her husband, after the Bartman game, said, enough. I will not go to Game 7. You can have the tickets, Greg. So, imagine a young 18-year-old Greg being handed the golden ticket to Game 7 of the NLCS. And I was like, we're not going to lose. I was like, this is the greatest moment ever. I'm going to see them win. They're going to go to the World Series. And lo and behold, the Marlins ended up winning and broke my heart. And the Cubs didn't return to the NLCS for another solid 18, 20 years. So you appreciate your moments while you got them. The double doink was a tough one, but one that will make the moment when the Bears go on to win a Super Bowl that much sweeter. So
I think we're gonna get a playoff game this year. I do. I feel good about it. Like we
yeah.
said, got 11 games left. Just win 6 of them, and you're probably gonna be in the playoffs.
Yeah, I'm sorry, Chubbs. I know you hate me, and I hope that you don't hate us here at Brags and Stands. We love you, Chubbs,
He
and your
hates you.
passion for the Chicago Bears. But yeah, I get lucky, and now I do pay to go to a lot of games, probably more than I should. So Jenny's probably happy that I'm not allowed to go to many games, but we'll see because I am trying to get to one. But before we completely cut loose, we're not going to be on for a full week. So I wanted to have a little fun with the audience and do some top shots. They're all football related, not as crazy as the Ezekiel Elliott one. So don't you worry, Jake. It's not going to get off the rails completely. But
Johnny didn't like that one either.
I love it. It's
We
one
both
of my
didn't
favorite
care for it.
shots.
I'd seen it before.
You're crazy.
I like seeing stuff I haven't seen, so I have a fresh reaction.
That's
You know what I'm
exactly
saying?
right. So I'm hoping you didn't see these because here we got some comments. I'm getting distracted, but I want to pull up comments.
All right, focus.
I'm sorry, I'm focusing, but we appreciate everyone.
We're in the home
chat
stretch.
hanging out and interacting with us. So it's important to me to always shine a light on our loyal listeners. And yes, here are the top shots of the night, Jake, before we wrap this baby up. Here was one from Twitter that I found that was really funny. I didn't catch it after the game, but this was apparently some kind of promotional thing they do with ESPN, and A-Rob was
I saw this.
having it.
Thanks so much for stopping by. Enjoy the sign. For sure, AC/DC returns with their highly anticipated new album, Power Up, on November 3rd. The band's new single, Shot in the Dark, is out now. And those Bears, they won tonight big, 20-19. Congratulations, Allen Robinson.
I appreciate it.
All right, we're going to... Well, thanks so much for stopping.
Yeah, he's just staring at the thing, be like, why the hell are you giving me a neon sign? I just played a football game. You want me to take this in the locker room and take it home?
Well, and the irony, too, because it's obviously a promotional deal with AC/DC, and I don't know if Allen agreed to it, and then all he gets...
I doubt it.
And so
if they lost the game, he wasn't going to be at the mic.
What he gets out of it is the sign that he probably doesn't even want.
He probably just walked away. He's like, I don't want this crap.
So now he's, imagine a guy's trying to get paid, and he's up there doing promotional work for AC/DC after it's just like, just pay this guy already. You got him going up to the stage doing promotional work for AC/DC. He obviously wasn't having this time, but it was funny just watching his face there. It's like, okay, cut camera. Hey, Rob.
Yeah, and then, the conversation they were having too, it was like, hey, do you think you're one of the best receivers in the league? And he said, yes, I do. And they go, we think you are too. So he obviously,
Wait. So who said AC/DC was crap? Did anybody say that? Because I don't recall saying that. Did I say that? Because I
didn't say they're crap, but
I definitely did. I love AC/DC, other than their stupid White Sox affiliation, because they have
think
a lot of song
AC/DC.
Thunderstruck and that. I love AC/DC.
I will be unpopular and say I think AC/DC is the most overrated rock band almost of all time.
Well, whatever.
But they got some good tracks. But I mean, like, dude, they're not that great. I just don't think they're great. Their drummer's terrible. So
well, I don't get that deep into it, Mr. Hoity-toity music guy. I enjoy their music. They have a lot of great hits, and then
Chubb says to me already. So now he's just that's gonna be the cherry on top.
Yeah, the sign. Well, I didn't say this. I don't remember.
Did
what
I
said.
Maybe
well,
I said the sign was crap. I don't remember.
Sign's cool. I would take the sign, but
no. But you think Allen Robinson does not want a giant AC/DC sign? More than likely,
he was excited about it. But
no, he was staring at it like, what?
Someone pointed out in the comments, hey, he could use that to donate for his charity. Do something to raise money for his charity. So that makes sense. He doesn't have to take it home necessarily, but you can see he's just a little frustrated was all. And I thought that was funny.
Yeah. I mean, if I'm Allen Robinson and I got a lot of money and I want to give to a charity, I'm not going to raffle off an AC/DC neon sign. I think it's just weird. I don't know why you'd give it to him. It's so strange.
I mean, you might be able to, but yeah, AC/DC's coming out with a song here soon. So yeah, it was definitely a promotion. Shout out to our guy, Johnny B, helping us out as our, we're going to have to put a producer tag on him because he does help us out so much. But I also had some other top shots here. But yeah, see, I'm like, oh shoot, but you typed that. But I did have
I
another
typed that.
great top shot. I bet you didn't see this one because I came across this. I don't know how I came across this, but it was really funny, and I want to find more of this segment. But I found this one clip, and I found it to be hilarious, and it was Bears related, so we're keeping it on the tracks here on Top Shot.
Door the other day. He told me my dog was chasing people on bikes. Man, my dogs don't even own bikes. How they gonna chase somebody on a bike if they don't even Why did
What was that, like a contest to see who could make somebody laugh first?
Yes,
Is that what that
so
was?
I've seen different things. I was at a barber shop. I was getting my hair cut one time at the barber shop, and they were playing. It was a different segment with not football players, but it was these people, shooting these jokes at each other or sayings or whatever to make the other side laugh. And it was really, really funny stuff. But I guess Anthony Adams is doing that. I came across that clip. It was really funny. Anthony Adams is
You'll
a
lose every
national-
time against AA. He's hilarious.
Yeah, he's a national treasure. When we were at the playoff game, we took a picture with him. I should have had that queued up, but I'm not good at my job, so I didn't. But yeah, it was.
How could you have foreseen we were having this conversation?
Well, because I brought the clip up, so I should have known. Then pull up the Anthony Adams picture. But hey, nobody's perfect. But it's a great. But Anthony Adams is a national treasure, and I'm gonna do everything I can
He's
to
awesome.
get him on Brags in the stands one day because he is hilarious. But yeah, my final.
He's
top
been
shot,
like he had to be hitting the gym or something lately because he's all trimmed up now and he looks pretty
doing
good.
what are the car segment that they do on Bears.com?
Yeah, I don't. Oh, the
riding with.
It used to be big guys in like a little car or something.
Yeah,
Now they have
something
a way nicer car. That's a Benz or something, right?
Oh, he's upgrading.
Big guys in Benz or something.
They've been upgrading around them parts. So
You
my
got to go big with it. AA.
My final top shot goes to my guy, the greatest of all time, Devin Hester. There was some conversation on Twitter today because we had somebody from PFF put out there that Cordero Patterson is the greatest kick returner of all time. And I'm not trying to disrespect anybody on our current Bears team. I'm not trying to go there because I like Cordero. So I'm not trying to disparage his name in any way. But this is like the Jordan thing for me. Like, if you think I love Mitchell Trubisky, that's a running joke here at Brags and Stands. My true love is for Devin Hester. Devin Hester is the greatest Chicago Bear of all time for my money. For what I've seen in my days of watching this team and going to camp, Devin Hester revolutionized the game of football in a way that only a handful of people can say in the National Football League. And Devin Hester is one of them. And that's why he will be a first ballot Hall of Famer, whether John Yurkovich from ESPN 1000 likes it or not. And my guy Eli over there at Deep Dish and Podcasting, we had him on for the post-game show. He was kind of going along with the mindset of Cordero being the best kick returner of all time. Not punt returner, but just strictly kick returner of all time. And I'm sorry, I think people, it's been a long time since Devin returned kicks, so we forget. And the rules have changed a little bit, so you have to take that into account for Cordero. And the numbers are there, but I'm sorry, when you take into account what Devin Hester was, and Jake and I spent many a day sitting on my couch in my mom's basement watching Devin Hester shock the world every week with plays like this. I mean, no one did it like Devin. And Cordero is great. We have the best kick returner in football currently. I would take that argument. I know Johnny B would fight me on that because they've got some speedsters over in Kansas City. But there is no one that touches one Devin Hester anytime. The Windy City Flyer. Look at Moose Muhammad making fun of the Lions fans on the sideline. I can only imagine what was being said in that moment. Let's watch the greatness that is Devin Hester. Knife through a sea of players. How does he get out of there? There goes the kicker. Smacks this dude out of bounds. Maybe comes back to the middle. What is this? College football? An unbelievable return. The greatest of all time. It doesn't even come close. Dante Hall, who was the kicker for the Browns? Joshua Cribbs, Cordero Patterson. I don't care who they are. No one touches what Devin Hester was on punts or kickoffs, and they had to change the rules. Obviously, it was a lot with concussions, but the way Devin was changing the game, it got Ted Ginn, a current Bear, a top 10. It got him a top 10 pick because Ted Ginn, the same year that Devin Hester returned the opening kickoff for the Super Bowl, that was the same year Ted Ginn ran back the opening kickoff of the national championship while he was playing for Ohio State. He did the same thing in the same year, and that got him a top 10 pick in the draft. And he can thank Devin Hester in a small way for getting that pick. So that's the kind of impact.
And if we're talking about Teddy Ginn, I would say he does not seem like he wants to be on punt returns right now from the way he's playing it. So maybe put Anthony Miller back there going forward. He doesn't seem very willing to be a punt returner these days.
No, and with his shoulder history, injury history, that's a risky move to be putting him out there to begin with. And Westbrook was good for the Eagles, but it was Brian Mitchell that had the career records, and some would argue he belongs to be in the Hall of Fame for the numbers he put up as a returner with the Philadelphia Eagles. But if you go back and look, Devin Hester equaled Brian Mitchell's career numbers in 2 seasons with the Chicago Bears. And Brian Mitchell did that over like 12 or 14 seasons playing with the Philadelphia Eagles, a storied career. And, obviously Hester had that lull in the middle, but then when he came back out of it, he cemented his place in Hall of Fame lore if he hadn't already in his first 2 years. I could go all day about the greatness that is Devin Hester, but I thought I'd share that clip.
Well, that's because people were saying Cordero was eclipsing him as the best kickoff return man. That was the whole story, right? They even got this conversation going.
Sam Munson from PFF tweeted, maybe I should have brought the tweet up to give some context behind the clip, but he tweeted, Cordero Patterson is the greatest kick returner in NFL history. A very bold statement to say.
Statistically, he could be.
Yeah,
right?
That's the point. They're pointing at is his kickoff return average. That's great. I'm sure the numbers support the argument. I've watched both players. I'm a fan of the Chicago Bears, so I definitely can speak on this. I watched every movement Devin Hester made on this team. So I will, this is something I am very passionate about. I will be standing. I've never been to Canton, Ohio. When Devin Hester is a first ballot Hall of Famer, Brags in the stands will be there to cover it, and there will be tears streaming down my face. If you think I love Mitch, you've never seen a love like I've had for Devin Hester, the greatest of all time. Anytime, my guy, Jake could tell you some funny stories all day long. We made a DVD for Devin Hester. I gave it to him last year. He was when he came back for his bobblehead when they played the Chiefs. I met him in the tunnel, and I have a custom DVD that me and my buddy made together back in our early days when we had nothing better to do. And it was an hour-long DVD of all of Devin Hester's touchdowns from his first 2 seasons. We called it the Devin Hester Chronicles, and a young graphic designer named Jake made our
very
DVD,
crappy at that time.
Made our crappy DVD, but I love it. So, it's retro.
I don't remember what it looks like. I know that there's like 4 Devin Hesters on the back.
Yeah, there's a Miami Devin Hester. There's Pro. So it's great. But I love Devin. I could go all day about it, but I thought I'd finish the show with my love affiliation.
Well, we're talking music
Jake
in
is
the chat.
talking his love affiliation for
music,
his favorite bands. So why don't you share that with the listening audience? Because I see you guys having a very spirited debate as far as who your affiliations are for bands. So let's hear it, Jake, because you've got all the guitars in your background, Mr. Piano Man on your right. You do all the music here on Brags on the Stand. So let's give the people, what your music love and where it's.
Well, I was asked what was my top 5 bands, and I don't know. I love Zappa and Bowie and Floyd and Jeff Beck and the band. That's like some of my absolute favorites. But I love, Hendrix is the reason I even started playing a guitar right off the bat, because he's amazing. He died on my birthday in 1970. I was born 15 years later. So whatever that means is absolutely nothing. But he was a huge influence. There's so much music I love. I mean, I'm really into jazz now. I love jazz fusion. And I try and write and do all that. So tons of stuff. We could have a whole nother podcast about music.
Well, we could talk all night. That's the beauty of Brags and Stands. We can talk a little bit. I mean, we all got to get to bed, but we're not going to be back for a week. So we hang out with our guys and, Bear Truth 9 talking about Bob Marley. When I'm laying bricks, I'll always randomly just start singing a Bob Marley song, and the guys at work will be like, "Shut up." Like,
What's your go-to when you're laying the bricks?
well, I kind of like, I'll be like, just laying bricks. It'll be real quiet for like 15 minutes. Nobody talking anything. And I'll be like, and every little thing gonna be all right. or what else do I sing? I'm like drawing a blank right now, but I'll seriously just go through them all. And the guys will be like, shut up. Like,
you need to incorporate bricklaying into the lyrics, but they're still Bob Marley tracks.
Yes. No, I love Bob Marley. He's my guy.
Brickaload Soldier.
Yes, that's the other one. Thank you, because I'm drawing blanks. I'm like getting to the end of the show. I'm at the end of my ropes mentally, but
I'm about to play music on you.
I'll be like, play the walk-off music. But yes, I'm always like, stolen from Africa. That'll be the first thing I say in like 20 minutes of pure silence. That's what I'll bust out, and then my guy will be like, shut up, Johnny. Not Johnny B, the old man Johnny that I lay brick with. So that'll wrap things up for tonight.
Johnny B says it too.
Johnny B says it too, and we appreciate Johnny B and all his hard work here at Brags in the Stands, and we appreciate everyone hanging out tonight. Watching,
yeah, thanks for hanging.
And Beartruth 9.
Oh, wait, you know what? I'm not going to play this. I'm going to play this.
Yeah, I like the smooth.
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. We're going bear down?
We're going bear down.
Okay, because the Bears are 4-1, so we do need to celebrate. It changes my whole tone.
Hey,
if it was calmer, I normally
we'll never be able to do this at the end of a show. Well, I guess post game we do.
We are rocking and rolling here as it Brags in the Stands. We are 4-1, ladies and gentlemen, in our debut of this foundational podcast for your sports viewing pleasure. And we're going to be in those stands sooner than you think. Mark my words. One way or another, I'm getting in there. But we appreciate everyone in the chat joining us tonight. Beartruth 9, Chubbs 82, Mom, we appreciate you. Grant Sims, all you guys. Thank you for all your support. Everybody that's buying merchandise and stuff like that. That means the world to us. We never in a million years thought that people would be interested in that kind of stuff. But we'll be happy to keep bringing some cool ideas along.
If you got ideas for shirts, let me know. Maybe I'll make one you like.
We'll try to do them up for you, and watch out for Johnny B for 3. Make sure you keep following his picks along. Last week he was 4-1, so he's on fire. And duck races coming up next week. So shout out to Johnny B for all his hard work, and look out for these duck races. It's going to be a lot of fun. Shout out to Kevin Kaduck from the Midway Minute. One day I'll get that Kaduck that last name right. But either way, you're our guy, Kevin. We love you very much, and we appreciate you letting us put our picks in, even if I can't get them right lately, on the Midway Minute. Please subscribe to his newsletter, and we'll see you next Friday. We're going to have a whole week off. Nothing going on Sunday. Just sit back, relax, watch the rest of the NFL, fight it out. We get to rest up and get ready for the Carolina Panthers. So I'm excited for it, but we're going to make sure we bring you fun guests, and I've talked through the whole song, so we got to dial it up again, and then we're going to wrap this baby up as we are.
Next. There we go.
We won. Bears win 4-1. Nick Foles rolling along. And thank you for joining us once again. We'll catch you next Friday, 7 p.m. Central. Brags in the Stands signing out. Bear down.